Good afternoon, everyone. So today we're going to discuss accounting for materials. And at the end of the session, isa sa mga objectives natin ay makilala natin lahat ng source documents na involved sa accounting for materials. So that would include materials requisition slip, purchase requisition, purchase order, and receiving report. Para ma-account mo na mabuti yung materials natin, dapat kilala din natin yung mga source documents natin at alam natin kung kailan papasok yung role natin bilang cost accountant or accountant para mag-record na tayo ng mga transactions. Okay, so let's just go through first sa mga source documents na yan. Ano ba yung materials requisition slip? Sa iba, ang tawag nila ay MRF, Materials Requisition Form, or iba MRS, Materials Requisition Slip. So parehas lang naman yun. So that is actually the written order to the storekeeper to deliver materials and supplies to the place designation or to issue the materials to the person presenting a properly executed requisition. In other words, kung sino man yung nangangailangan ng materials na yan, i-request niya sa storekeeper. So i-request niya yung materials na yan, for example, in the production, kung ano man yung mga materials na kailangan niya para ma-proceed niya yung operations niya sa department niya. Okay? So sample ng materials requisition slip, that would include, syempre, kailan ni-request yung materials na yan at saka kailan din na-issue yung materials na yan. Sino nag-request? Kumbaga para matrace natin saang department nanggaling yung request niyan, and that should be approved by the head ng department na yan. And mapapansin mo, meron po tayong requisition number. May control po tayo dyan, so series po yan, sunod-sunod po yan, para kapag nagkaroon ng problema someday, pag merong na-skip na requisition number, ibig sabihin madali natin ma-identify. And then meron din dito, para makita natin kung sino nag-issue ng materials na yan. Siyempre, kailangan may signature, may pangalan ng signature ng mga personal involved para pag nagkaroon ng problema, na-issue ba talaga yan? So tatanungin natin kung sino man yung nandito sa issued by. Ayan, so basically, yung request would contain ilan ang kailangan mo, ano ba yung kailangan mong materials, and please take note, job number. Since nasa job order costing system pa rin tayo, so sabi natin, we accumulate costs per job. So nakalagay dito, yung material A na una na request for job 101, 102, and 103. So sa job cost sheet, ng bawat job number na yan, doon natin i-record kapag na-receive na ng production yung mga materials na to. May unit cost and total cost po nakasama. So ito po ay suggested format lang naman ng materials requisition form. Okay, pero ang ibang companies, they have their own format, but as long as lahat ng important na data ng MRF or MRS ay nandoon, okay na po yung format na yon. Okay? Tapos itong materials requisition slip na yan, sabi natin, ibibigay kay storekeeper. And then, kapag paubos na yung inventory sa storeroom or wala tayong inventory sa storeroom, that's the time na sa storekeeper ay gagawa ng purchase requisition naman. This is a written request usually sent to inform the purchasing department for materials and supplies. Kumbaga, ito yung request natin na mag-purchase, pero siyempre si purchasing department pa rin yung mag-purchase. So gagawa ng purchase requisition, dalawang kopya po ang gagawin. Yung unang kopya, ibibigay kay purchasing department kasi siya po yung mag-o-order ng mga materials and supplies natin. And also, si storeroom clerk, yung nag-request, mayroon din siyang i-retain na kopya para i-keep track niya kung na-receive na ba natin yung orders na yan. Okay? So, yan po yung purchase requisition. Sample uli ng itsura ng purchase requisition. So, we have here for Southern Consolidated Company, yung purchase requisition nila, order date, delivery date requested, kung kailan natin kailangan yung mga materials na yan. So, again, meron lang quantity, ano ba yung pinapabili natin sana, magkano ba yung cost nun, and magkano ba yung total cost niyan. Okay, so again, sino nagre-request? Yung forming department. Okay, so may purchase requisition na, binigay na natin kay purchasing department. Anong gagawin ng purchasing department? Gagawa na siya ng purchase order kapag approved na yon. So a purchase order, yung tinatawag natin na PO, pag nandun na kayo sa real practice, lagi nyo may encounter ang PO na dapat ang purchase order, walang magaganap na purchase order kung walang purchase requisition, kung walang nag-request. So there has to be somebody who will request na na-approve at kaya naman tayo bibili ng mga items na yon. So gagawa ang purchasing department ng PO. Tapos gagawa siya ng 3 kopya. Ibibigay siyempre number 1 kay supplier para ma-place natin yung order natin. Number 2, yung another copy ng PO ng pinopurchase natin, si receiving department. Si receiving department ay mag-aabang kung ano yung i-deliver sa kanya based po sa PO na meron siyang kopya. Dapat kung ano yung quantity na nasa PO, yun din yung ine-expect niya na darating sa kanya kapag na-deliver na yung mga goods na yan. Okay, so ang PO, may series uli yan, may PO number uli yan para ma-monitor uli natin anong PO na yung mga na-deliver, anong PO pa yung hindi na-deliver. And magre-retain lang ng kopya si purchasing department sa lahat ng PO na na-issue niya. So basically, aabangan din niya yung mga PO ba na yun ay na-deliver na. But then again, ang concern pa rin ng purchasing department, sila talaga yung nag-place ng order sa mga supplier. Alright. And then, pag nag-purchase order na tayo, anong na-expect natin na mangyayari? So that's the time na marireceive na natin yung materials or supplies. Pero ito pala muna yung sample ng PO, ng purchase order. But then again, this is just a suggested format. So we have for the Southern Consolidated Company. Ito po yung pangalan ng supplier, si Eller Company. Tapos may terms, payment terms, kailan na-request, kailan in-order. Ayan. Tapos quantity uli, kung ano yung ni-request nung ating storekeeper. Yun din yung binili ni purchasing department. Ito rin yung total cost. Okay, but definitely yung purchase order i-approve din ng pinaka-head nila, which is who is the purchasing manager, na para ma-authorize yung pag-purchase talaga natin ng mga items na yan. Okay, so na-purchase na. Ina-expect na lang natin na ma-deliver. So once na ma-deliver po yung mga goods na yan, this is the time that we will have the receiving report. Sa iba po, ang tawag nila dyan, mas kilala nyo siguro si delivery receipt. So that would be the proof na meron na talaga tayong na-receive na mga goods. So sabi dito, when the goods that were ordered are delivered, the receiving department will unpack and count yung mga goods na yan. So ano yung basis natin? Yung PO na binigay sa atin, right? PO na binigay ni purchasing department. Titingnan mo yung PO na yan, i-check mo yung dineliver sa iyo ng supplier. Dapat kung ilan yung quantity na nasa PO, yun din yung makikita ko sa dineliver. Ang tanong dito, paano kung 100 units ang in order ang nasa PO? Ang dinideliver ay 120 units. Ang tanong, kung ikaw si receiving department, i-receive mo ba yung goods na yun? So sobra yung dinideliver nila. The answer would be, depende sa policy ng company. Pwede naman kasi na yung sobra na 20, hindi mo na lang i-receive. Kumbaga, i-receive mo yung 100, tapos wag mo na lang tanggapin yung 20. Pero make sure na sa delivery receipt, ma-ensure mo na 100 lang talaga yung na-receive mo. Kung 120 yung nakalagay, i-cross out mo po yun at ilalagay mo na 100 lang with your signature. Okay? Ayan. Pero may mga companies na mahigpit. Ayaw nila na may mga erasures ang mga documents. Dapat kung 100 ang in-order, saktong 100 yung darating. Kung hindi yan sakto, kung sobra man yan or kulang, reject the delivery. Dapat itama nung supplier. May mga companies po na ganun kahigpit. Pero may mga companies na medyo practical din, andyan naman na yung 100, iwag mo na lang tanggapin yung 20. Pero ang tanong, paano kung 80 lang ang na-deliver? Pero ang ine-expect ng receiving department ay 100. So are you going to accept kung kulang? Yun ang tanong. So yung iba, hindi i-accept kasi nga kulang. Kasi yun yung policy nila. Again, policy will determine kung ano yung magiging action mo. Pero kung ang company ay may policy rin na meron palang mga supplier na merong partial delivery, that's the time na pwede mong tanggapin yung 80 pala. Tapos to follow na yung 20. Ibig sabihin, hindi pa close yung PO na yon dahil yung PO na yan, 80 pa lang na-serve. Meron pang naghihintay na 20 na items na i-deliver or i-receive ng receiving department. So ganyan po ang nangyayari in real practice para ma-imagine din po natin. So what we are doing is, ang tawag nila sa actual is two-way matching. Ibig sabihin ng two-way matching, there are two documents na pinagmamatch mo. Yung PO at saka yung RR, yung receiving report. Dapat kung ang PO ay 100, ang receiving report ay 100. Kahit na 120 or 80 yung dineliver, dapat mag-reflect na bawa kung 120, i-cross out mo talaga, mag-reflect ng 100. Kung 80 yan, dapat maging 80 to. Pero siyempre, ina-expect mo na hindi pa fully served to, sa may 20 ka pa na darating. Okay, so we call that two-way matching. Pagdating kay accounting, ang tawag naman doon ay three-way matching na. Kasi si accounting magbabayad na ng mga dineliver sa atin. So nag-order tayo, ni-receive natin yung mga items, may obligation na tayo. And then, pagdating kay accounting, yung sales invoice po, SI, yun yung basihan niya para sa babayaran niya sa mga materials na deliver sa atin. Three-way matching naman po ito. So this time, dapat yung sa invoice na binibill sa atin ng supplier, kung, burahin ko lang po ito, kung 100 po ang binibill niya, dapat ang na-receive mo ay 100 din. Dapat ang in-order mo ay 100 din. Kaya nga po tinawag na three-way matching kasi nga tatlong documents po yung pinagmamatch mo na hindi ka pwedeng magbayad ng hindi mo naman na-receive. Okay? Pero may tinatawag ba tayong partial billing? May ibang companies na may partial billing. Halimbawa, 100 ang na-receive, ang binibill pa lang sa una ay 50. Babayaran mo ba to? Depende sa policy. Kasi yung 50 nakahiwalay ng invoice. Okay? So yun po. O kaya naman, ang binibill sa atin ay 200. Yung pala, dalawang PO pala yung na-deliver din sa atin. So ibig sabihin, it depends on the policy of the company. Pero ang ginagawa ng accounting, basta ang importante po sa atin, babayaran lang natin kung ano yung na-receive natin. That's why we have to check the attached na receiving copy, na receiving report at saka ng PO. Okay. Ngayon, ang receiving report, sino ba ang makakatanggap niyan? Una, receiving department, itatago niya yung original record niya. Pangalawa, si purchasing department, para may note naman siya na yung purchase order niya, yung PO niya, ay na-deliver na or na-receive na ng company. And of course, storeroom clerk. Makikita niyo po istorya. Ito po yung nag-request si storeroom clerk. Nag-request ng purchase. Tapos ito yung bumili. Ito yung nag-receive. Parang in-inform lang niya yung dalawang department na na-receive ko na yung ine-expect niya na goods. Okay, so kung makikita nyo, well-informed ang bawat parte ng organization na dapat talagang makaalam ng mga yon. And of course, once na na-deliver na, pwede na uling may available na items na ulit na pwedeng i-request yung mga users ng mga materials na yan. So paulit-ulit po yan ang ginagawa as long as nag-ooperate yung organization. Okay? So sample ng receiving report, ganito lang siya. Ilan ba yung quantity na na-receive? Anong material yan? May discrepancy ba? Ang usually na gusto ng company, walang discrepancy. Pero kung may discrepancy, yun yung sinatawag natin na pwedeng sagutin ng policy kung i-receive or hindi. So this is just a sample na galing daw kay Eller Company. Ayan. Ito yung PO number na titingnan mo, na basis mo or reference mo kapag hinanap mo, kapag dumating na yung goods natin. Alright, and of course, authorized signature. Dapat malinaw na kung sino man yung nag-receive ng goods, dapat pumirma po dyan. Okay? para ano man mangyari, siya ang magiging responsible. Kasi di ba bibilangin mo yan. May mga ibang nasa receiving department, siguro tinamad na magbilang. Kaya sige, pwede na yan, pwede na yan. O kaya minsan kasi per box, binilang na lang yung box. Kaso yung may box pala na may kulang na laman. So yung person accountable, yung nakapirma dito. Pag yan ay nagkulang, ikaw ang matcha-charge. Of course, kailangan pirmahan. Okay? So now that we know already yung mga source documents, so bilang accountants, alamin lang natin, kailan ba tayo magre-record? Balik lang tayo dito. Kailan ba tayo magkakaroon ng record sa ating libro? That is the time na kapag merong dineliver, remember? Kasi pag nag-purchase ka lang, wala namang paggalaw sa mga 5 elements ng financial statements natin. Di ba purchase order lang yun. Wala naman nadagdag sa atin na kahit ano. Pero once na na-receive na natin yung items, that's the time na meron na tayong entry, debit, inventory, or depende po kung anong inventory system ang gamit natin. Debit purchases o kaya debit inventory and credit, accounts payable kung ito man ay on account. Okay? And then after that, yun ng payment na natin. So debit, accounts payable, and credit, cash. Doon lang po tayo magre-record. Okay, so nabanggit ko kanina yung perpetual and periodic inventory kasi may dalawa tayong inventory system. So, periodic and perpetual nga. Ang difference nitong dalawa na to ay una, pagdating sa account na ginagamit. Kapag nag-purchase ka ng materials, ang entry natin ay purchases pag periodic inventory system. Pero raw materials inventory kapag perpetual inventory system. Tapos, ang in and out ng inventory natin, nagre-reflect sa inventory mismo kapag perpetual inventory system ang gamit natin. Remember the entries that we had last time sa ating previous online discussion na kapag bumili ka ng materials, debit, raw materials inventory and credit, accounts payable. Sinoli mo kasi defective. Debit, accounts payable and credit, raw materials inventory. Ngayon, in-issue mo sa production, debit, work in process, credit, raw materials inventory. Sobra yung na-issue mo sa production, binalik mo sa warehouse. Ano entry natin? Debit, raw materials inventory, credit, work in process. Assuming na puro direct materials yung pinag-uusapan. In other words, bawat galaw ng inventory, kung makikita mo, may entrada tayo. Meaning, at any given point, alam natin kung ano yung balanse. Debit minus credit plus debit. So at any given time, alam mo kung ano ang amount ng raw materials inventory mo pag tinignan mo yung ledger mo. And we also have what we call stock cards. Ito ay required kapag perpetual inventory system po tayo. Ang stock cards, dito mo makikita lahat ng in at out ng materials mo. Dito kasi sa raw materials inventory account, makikita mo sa entries natin, sa libro natin yung mga yon. Dito naman, listahan, kada inventory natin, we are maintaining isang stock card showing the in and out ng mga materials na yan. And of course, yung balance at any given point din. So ibig sabihin, si stock card pala at saka yung ledger natin, dapat bangga palagi or when you say bangga, equal or balance palagi yung record mo sa stock card as to quantity at ganoon din sa quantity mo na nasa raw materials inventory account. At kapag hindi sila magkamuka, that's the time na pwede kang bumalik. Saan? Di ba meron tayong materials requisition form or materials requisition slip? Baka naman meron lang tayong MRS na hindi na i-record sa ledger natin, sa raw materials inventory account. Na-skip lang pala. Kaya pala hindi na ibawas yung raw materials na yon. Kung yun ang dahilan, so at least mare-reconcile natin. Pero kung mapapansin mo rin, lahat ng yun ay puro records lang. Ito ay nasa libro natin, ito ay nasa stock card na in and out natin. Pero required ba na magbilang or mag-conduct ng fiscal count kapag perpetual inventory? Kailangan mo pa rin magbilang kahit once a year lang. Bakit? Kasi puro record lang yan. puro papel lang yan. You have to verify or confirm kung yung bang nasa record natin ay yun din yung nag-e-exist sa warehouse. At kapag hindi sila equal, halimbawa for material A, 1,000 ang nasa record, 900 lang ang nasa physical na count natin. Now, saan napunta yung 100? Yun ang tanong. Ano kagad iisipin mo kapag may nawawalang 100 sa warehouse natin? Nakaw ba agad? Inuwi ba agad ng empleyado? Hindi naman natin sigurado. So we have to check again the source documents. Pwede natin balikan yan. Baka naman meron lang hindi rin na-i-out parehas sa stock card at saka sa raw materials inventory account, parehas na hindi na-i-out yung 100 items na yan na pertaining to MRF number 12, for example. Kasi nakita mo, 1 to 11, intact yung MRF, tapos nag-jump ng 13, may nawawalang 12. 100 pala yun. Pinagdudahan mo na yung empleyado, hindi naman pala niya inuwi, hindi lang pala na-record. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, pag meron discrepancy, that's the time that we investigate. Kaya naman nagkakandak tayo ng physical count at least once a year just to verify yung balance natin. So yun po yung nature ng perpetual inventory system. Kaya periodic po, required po na mag-conduct ng physical count. Why? Remember, pag purchases lang ang entry mo, debit purchases and credit accounts payable. Pag nagsoli ka, debit accounts payable and credit, purchase returns and allowances. Pag may discount, credit naman ay purchase discount. Pero kapag nag-issue na sa production, nagbenta na, wala naman po tayong entry na may kinalaman sa inventory. In other words, ang meron lang tayo ay yung ating net purchases. Okay? Net purchases, yun po yung difference ng gross purchases natin minus the purchase returns and allowances minus the purchase discount. Pero siyempre, may beginning inventory na tayo before. Saan nanggaling yung beginning inventory? Kasi nung nakaraan, nagkanda ka ng physical count. Kaya na-establish mo sa beginning inventory. May purchases ka, saan galing? Sa record natin. At saka ngayon, meron pa nawawala para ma-establish mo yung cost of goods sold mo. Conduct ka ng physical count to get your ending inventory. That's the only time that you can compute for your cost of goods sold. Okay? Since materials yung pinag-uusapan natin, it's not cost of goods sold. That's the raw materials used. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, you really have to count para ma-establish yung ending inventory. Unlike sa perpetual inventory system, at any point, gusto mo malaman, tingnan mo ang record, may ending inventory ka. Actually, di ba kapag nagbenta tayo, remember, dalawa entries natin dito, debit, cost of goods sold, and credit, finished goods inventory. May isa pa, debit accounts receivable and credit sales. Yan po yung entries natin pag nagbenta tayo. So may COGS ka na, may inventory ka anytime, may beginning inventory ka, so ibig sabihin, kumpleto na agad. You just have to confirm or verify through physical count, tama ba yung ending inventory mo per ledger and per stock card. Okay, so yan po yung difference ng dalawang inventory system. Anyways, noong basic accounting ninyo, na-focus nyo na masyado yung periodic. In cost accounting, in manufacturing business, ang focus po natin ay perpetual inventory system. Tapos, meron po tayong dalawang inventory valuation methods. Ito po yung mga most common inventory valuation methods. Most common. Kasi meron din po tayong tinatawag na LIFO, last in, first out. At iba pang mga valuation method. Pero ito yung most common, itong dalawa na to. When you say first in, first out, pagdating sa raw materials, yung una mong binili would be the first ones na i-issue mo sa production. Okay? So, ang effect po nun, raw materials inventory is reported at latest cost. Ibig sabihin yung raw materials ending mo ay naka-report at latest cost, yung huling cost na pagbili mo yung materials na yon. Whereas, the cost of goods sold is reported at earliest cost. Tama naman. Kasi kung yan ay merchandising, o kaya yung materials po na part ng cost of goods sold ay galing sa earliest cost. Kaya naman sabi rito, nilagyan ko lang ng konting blank. In a period of rising prices, the method na FIFO will yield blank. Is it higher or lower gross profit? Kapag ba nag-FIFO tayo, higher or lower gross profit ang meron tayo kapag increasing yung prices? The answer would be higher. Why? Kung pataas ang price niyan, ibig sabihin yung earlier cost mo, lower. Tama? Tapos yung latest mo would be higher. Ang cost of goods sold mo, di ba inuuna mo yung earlier na binili mo. Kaya low yung cost of goods sold mo, kaya higher yung gross profit mo. Okay, tandaan yan. Parang ilang beses ko rin yan nakita sa exam before. In a period of rising prices, FIFO method will yield higher gross profit. Okay? So, sa moving average naman, ang average unit cost, ang ginagawa na lang natin, gaano karami ba yung inventory mo? Magkano ba yung total na bili mo ng inventory mo? Kasi minsan, iba-iba ng price yung materials natin. Siyempre, nagbabago-bago naman po talaga ang price ng mga bilihin. So, magkano ba yung total cost? I-divide mo na lang ng total units so that you can identify yung average unit cost. Okay? So, at this point, we would like to show the inventory stock card, tapos ano yung itsura ng inventory stock card natin. Actually, parang comparison ng FIFO and moving average na in-apply natin sa stock card natin. And in this stock card, we are going to show also magkano ba, makikita natin magkano ba yung total purchases natin for the period, magkano ba yung nagamit natin ng materials for the period, at any point, magkano ba yung total amount ng inventory natin. Okay, yun yung silbi ng inventory stock card sa atin. So, let's start with the moving average. Ayan. So, pinili ko muna yung moving average. So, looking at this, receipt, we have here the dates. So, may receipts, lahat ng pumasok sa ating inventory, lahat ng issuances natin to production, and balance ng raw materials natin. Normally, that starts with the beginning balance. So at the beginning, we have 750 units, 20 pesos per unit po yan. So ang total amount dyan, we just multiply, that would be 15,000 pesos. Okay. Kahit hindi natin ilagay yung narrative ng transaction, alam na alam natin kung ano nangyari noong June 3. So noong June 3, bumili ng 400 units at 19.5 per unit. Okay? So moving average ang gamit natin, ibig sabihin 19.5 to 20 pesos to. We just have to get the average. Yung simple average is 20 plus 19.5 divided by 2. 19.75 po yun. Pag simple average ang ginamit. Pero moving average po yung mas common sa atin, or sometimes we just call it weighted average, wherein may impact po yung units niyan. Okay? So how do we get the balance at the on June 3? So pakita po natin. Ayan. So ito po yung 400, 1950. So 7,800 po yung binili natin. So sa balance po, hinighlight ko ng gray yung para sa June 3 alone. Sa June 3, kuha mo muna yung galing sa beginning balance na 750 plus 20 pesos each, 15,000 pesos yung total. And then ito yung binili mo, 400 units, tapos 19.5 bawat isa, ang total amount is 7,800. So para makuha mo yung unit cost na to, ang ginawa mo po, tinotal mo muna yung number of units, tinotal mo rin yung amount ng inventory natin. And after getting the total ng dalawa, itong 19.83 ay galing sa 22,800 divided by 1,150 units. Kumbaga, since weighted average siya, kunin mo na lang total amount, divide mo sa total units existing sa atin. Okay? So that in the next transaction, itong cost natin ang dadalhin ng mga i-issue mo sa production. Okay, so kinumpleto ko po yung table na yan. Ayan. Ay, issuance muna bago ko pakita yung kompleto. Noong nag-issue tayo sa production ng 600 units, hinighlight ko po ng light orange. Yung cost na dala-dala niya would be the last cost or the last average cost natin. Okay? So this would be the total amount of your issuance on June 4. Tanong, ilan na lang yung units natin at the end of the period? So 1,150 minus 600 na in-issue sa production, that would be 550. Ano yung unit cost na dala-dala niya? 19.83. Pag multiplyin yung dalawa, that's 10,904.35. So kung makikita natin sa units, simpleng minus lang, plus and minus lang. Sa amount, ganun din, simpleng plus and minus lang. Pero sa unit cost, we just divide the amount here by the amount, by the quantity here. Okay? So after nitong transaction na to, bumili uli ng 350 on June 10 at 21.5 bawat isa. Ang tanong, maapektuhan ba uli yung unit cost natin? So ipakita po natin sa next slide. Ayan. So nandito po tayo sa June 10. 350 binili, 21.5 bawat isa. 7,525 ang total ng purchases natin on June 10. Ngayon, madadagdag po yan. Tingnan po ang nangyari ha. Yung 550 na to, galing po yan sa June 4. Ito po, 550, 19.83, 10,904.35. So siya rin yung June 4. Nadagdag po yung binili mo, tapos ito yung cost niya, tapos ito yung amount niya. And after that, ano uling gagawin? Ito-total mo po yung quantity. Ito-total mo rin po yung amount. And how do we get this one? Divide 18,429.35 by 900 to get the average cost of 20.48. Okay? Kaya pag tinignan mo on June 15, nag-issue sa production ng 500 units. Magkano unit cost niya? Yung huling unit cost sa balance natin. Dala-dala po niya yung 20.48. Magkano total nun? 10,238.53. Pansinin, 400 po ang natira kasi 900 minus 500 units here. Magkano yung unit cost mo? 20.48. Magkano yung total price? Yung total amount? 8,190.82. Anong mapapansin nyo sa unit cost? Tuwing kailan lang siya nagbabago. Kapag may in-issue ka, pansinin mo po, nag-issue ka 19.83. Pagdating sa balance, 19.83 pa rin siya. Pero every time na nagpa-purchase ka ng materials mo, 21.5, nagbabago po ang unit cost natin. So lumalabas yun sa exam. Kapag po moving average, tuwing nagpa-purchase ka lang, saka po gumagalaw ang unit cost natin, ang average unit cost. Pero pag nag-issue ka lang, it will just carry the last or the latest average cost ng ating materials. Okay? Tapos yung mga sumunod na transactions dito, just the same. Kumbaga, uulit-ulitin lang natin na kapag may binili na naman, dadagdag na naman siya dito. Idadagdag niya dun sa nakaraan. Okay? Ito total mo na naman. And then just get again the average unit cost. Okay? So after you perform all the operations, ayan, at the end ng June 30, pag tinanong sa exam, tapos stock card yung binigay sa inyo, what is the amount of your net purchases? Or minsan sasabihin lang, what is the amount of your purchases? Saan ka titingin? Just look at the receipts column. Yung total amount na nasa ilalim, kaso natatakpan ng UR screen sharing. Can you see kung magkano yung amount natin dito? It's 41,000.
Kita po.
Kita po.
Saan natatakpan siya? Magkano siya? 41,000?
875 po.
875. So pag tinanong ka sa exam, magkano yung net purchases, tingnan mo lang yung receipts mo. Kasi di ba, ang receipts naman talaga natin is kapag nagpa-purchase tayo. Okay, paano sir pag merong sinoli sa supplier? Dito ka rin po maglalagay pero naka-negative lang. Kuha po. Ayan. So pag naka-negative po yun, syempre ang effect po niyan sa pinaka-total na sa ilalim ay mama-minus din siya. Kaya nga we call it net purchases. Okay? Sometimes, ang tanong naman sa exam ay total issued. Okay? Total issued o kaya raw materials used for the month of June 2020, for example. So ito po yun, yung 44,523.47. Again, you will just get the total amount here. Alright? Ano pa yung pwede mo makuha dito sa exam? Pag tinanong, magkano ang ending inventory? Ito total ba lahat to? No. Ito po yung running balance niya. As of June 30, we have 12,461.55 na raw materials inventory. Sabi natin, sir, at any given point, di ba? Noong June 4, magkano inventory natin? Tingnan lang po natin sa stock card. Kunwari, wala pang nangyari ng 10 to 30. Dito ko titingin, 10,904.35. At pag tumingin ako sa warehouse at sa stock card, dapat sa stock card may 550 din yun ng June 4. At dapat, pag binila ko yung warehouse, yung materials na yan na nasa warehouse, 550 din dapat ang makikita ko. Yun ang kagandahan ng perpetual inventory system na may stock card tayo. Lahat ng movements monitored po natin. But if you will notice also, parang matrabaho siya masyado. Yes, pero in that way, mas mamamonitor mo talaga. Okay? At mas costly siya dahil talagang you have to maintain the stock card. Ayan. So, any questions so far? Meron pong nagtanong. Ayan. Can you also see yung chat? Or ako lang nakakakita? Sir, clarify ko lang po yung sa amount sa balances. Ito times po ba talaga yung units and unit cost to arrive to the amount of ileles lang po yung previous amount at amount sa issuances. Okay. Sige. Good question. Yung daw balances natin, imumultiply lang ba ang unit at unit cost? Ito po kasi, pag minultiply mo, talagang siya rin na may nilalabas. Dito po sa pangalawa, 750, 20, siya naman din po yun. So hindi natin na-clarify yung tanong niya. Dito po sa dulo, itong pag nag-issue ba ang sabi niya, ulitin ko po sir, clarify ko lang po yung sa amount sa balances. Ito times po ba talaga ang units and unit cost to arrive to the amount or ileles lang po yung previous amount. Actually, kahit alin ang gawin mo doon, dapat parehas yung lumabas. Kasi, for example, ito, yung 20.48, saan ba nanggaling yan? 18,429 divided by 900. Pero remember, yan ay pinag-add mo lang din na 10,904 at saka 7,525. Ang tinatanong niya kapag may nag-issue tayo naman sa production. Like, for example, dito po sa June 27, ang tingnan natin. Ang balanse po niya ay kinuha lang niya yung unit cost nung nakaraan, di ba? Tapos ito ay 400, yung natira. 400 times 21.15 is actually 8,461.55. Pero kung mapapansin mo, ay itong 22,211.57 ay bakit tas minus natin itong 13,860.04, itong 8,461.55 din ang lalabas. Kung meron man pong discrepancy, ay dahil lang po sa pag-round off natin. Okay? So, yun lang po yung magiging reason kung bakit hindi sila equal. Kasi dapat dito pag tininan mo, 0.57 minus 0.04, dapat 0.53. It's just 0.02 due to rounding off lang. Kasi kung mapapansin mo, average unit cost po yung pinag-uusapan natin dito. Okay? So, yun. So, another question is, sir, every receipt po dapat kukunin ng average unit cost or pwede rin po if nag-issue na lang kukunin? Ay, dapat po every receipt po kukunin po yung average unit cost. So, takpan lang po natin to. Ang dami nakasulat, magbubura lang po ako ng konti. Okay? Ayan. Buray lang natin yung ibang parts. Okay. Every purchase daw ba or every receipt nagko-compute ng unit cost? Actually, nagko-compute naman tayo lagi. Kaya lang, kung mapapansin mo, kahit mag-recompute ka kapag may issuance, 600 to, di ba? So matitira, 1,150 minus 600, 550. Tapos 22,800 minus 11,895.65, 895.65, ito po ang matitira. Pag dinivide mo po ito, 19.83 lang. Then, so ibig sabihin, wala naman talagang changes kapag issuance lang ang nangyari. So will you recompute pa? Wag na. You just copy. Pero nagre-recompute ba talaga? Yes, it continuously, kaya nga sa moving average, kada movement nagko-compute. However, equal kasi siya kapag issuance lang. So nagbabago yung unit cost kapag may receipts lang. Pag merong nakalagay sa receipts. Diba? So, nung nagkaroon ng June 10, nagbago. From 19.83, naging 20.48. Ayan. Check natin. I hope nasagot yung tanong. Ayan. So, pag meron pang tanong, ilagay lang po sa chat box para mabalikan natin anytime. Okay, so thank you. Oops, tingnan natin kung pahabol na tanong to. Ayan. Sir, sa June 27 po, bakit po 21.32 yung ginamit sa issuance, hindi po ba dapat 21.15? Ayan, nasan ba? Ito no, ayan. Sino yung nagtanong? Dahil dyan, ikaw ay may tama. Ayan, thank you sa pag-mention. Kasi in-excel ko yan kanina, no? So, nung nakaraan, na ito ay dapat, ang na-capture ay 21.15. Oo nga naman. Kaya siguro hindi taling-tali ito. So, maraming salamat sa pag-clarify. It should be, ito po 21.15. You are going to use the last na average cost natin pag nag-issue tayo. So, ibig sabihin, nakikinig talaga ng husto si Miss Bianca. Thank you so much. And then, so ibig sabihin, maapektuhan pala yung average natin dito. So, 21.15 pa rin ito naman. And then, ito okay lang. Tapos ito ay 20. Okay. So, thank you very much sa pag-correct. Ayan. So, magkano na ito dapat? So, that would be 650 times 21.15. Ayan, so that would be 13,747.50. Kaya pala sakto lang na 22, ito po, yung part na to. So may 0.02 rin na discrepancy. Ayan, so thank you very much sa pag-clarify. Ayan. Any more question? Wala. Dahil dyan, punta tayo kay FIFO. First in, first out. So dapat ma-imagine natin yung unang binili, unang ilalabas. Kaya naman, noong June 1, ito yung beginning balance natin. So dapat manggaling sa beginning balance yung una mong i-issue sa production. Bago magkaroon ng issuance, ano nangyari ng June 3? Nagkaroon ng purchases, 1950. Okay, so nung nag-purchase ka, ito po yung niya, ginawa ko na po, 19.5. So 7,800 po yung total purchases natin. Actually, kamukha lang nung kanina. Pero ang difference po natin, hindi mo pwedeng pagsamahin, pwede mo kuha yung total amount ng inventory. Set 15,000, oops, natatakpan. Lipat ka lang. Ayan. Pwede mo makuha yung total amount of inventory. That would be the sum of 15,000 and 7,800. So that's 22,800. Tapos, pwede mo rin malaman yung total quantity which is 1,150. Pero, hindi mo kukuhanin yung average cost, hiwalay po siya. Kasi, nung nagkaroon ng issuance, nung June 4, kukunin mo muna siya sa mga beginning balance natin. Yung tig 20 pesos po ang panggagalingan niyan. Ako ba? So, ibig sabihin, at the end of June 4, may maiiwan pa na 150 galing dito sa 750, right? At yung 150 na yan ay identified na tig 20 po yan. Kaya 20 pesos times 150, ang natira ay 3,000 out of the beginning. Eh meron pa tayong 400 na binili ng June 3. At 1950 bawat isa, that's 7,800. So on June 4, ang total amount ng inventory ay 11,800, yung sum ng dalawa, at total quantity ay 550. Okay? Pero magkahiwalay para alam mo kung saan mo kukunin yung i-issue mo sa susunod. Okay? And then, noong June 10, bumili ng 350, 21.5 bawat isa. Ano ina-expect natin dito sa inventaryo? Tingnan po may tig 20, may tig 1950, may tig 21.5. Kaya naman, tatlong items po na hiwa-hiwalay na record yung ating materials. So pakita ko lang po, ayan. So yung 150, 400 at 350 na sinabi ko kanina, hiwa-hiwalay po yung presyo nung mga yan. Pag tinanong, total amount of inventory, yung total po natin ito pong tatlo na to. Magkano ba to? So 8,3, 15,3, 18,325 po. Total inventory, total cost. Pero ang total quantity natin, that would be 900 units po. Pero yung cost natin, huwag mo uli i-average. Hayaan mo siya na hiwa-hiwalay. Okay? Kaya naman noong June 15, nag-issue sa production ng 500 units. Saan mo kukunin? Unahin mo yung nasa unahan, 150. Ito po yun, yung tig 150 na tig 20. Right? Eh 500 yung in-issue. So may 350 pa. Saan mo kukunin yung 350? Dun sa 400. So sa tig 400, may natira ka pang 50. Na tig 1950. Pero yung 350, lahat ng yan, naiwan pa sa ating inventory. Kaya, ang itsura po ng ating balanse sa dulo sa June 15 would be yung naiwang 50 at saka yung 350. At ito po yung magkaibang price nila. Okay? Magkano yung total amount ng inventory? That's 8,500. Ilan lahat? 400 units. Yun lang ang kay FIFO. Hindi natin mini-merge. Eh bumili ng 500 units at 22 pesos each. So that would be 11,000, di ba? So ngayon, ito, dadagdag lang siya sa ilalim. Merong tig 50, ito yon. May tig 350, ito yon. At yung 500 na, ito, yung binili natin. Hiwa-hiwalay po ulit, 1950, 2150, at 22 pesos. Eh nag-issue sa production ng 400 units. Saan kukunin? Kunin mo po muna sa tig 50. Eh may 350 pa. Kunin mo po dito sa 350 na to. So ang matitira sa atin ay yung buong 500 na to. Kaya ang balance natin noong June 15, itong 500 na to. At 22 pesos. 11,000. Okay? Again, you just perform it hanggang sa dulo. So pag tinanong sa exam, magkano ang purchases natin for the month of June? Magkano po? Ito po. 41,000, natatakpan na naman, 875. Ayan. Kung mapapansin mo, kamukha siya ng weighted average, 41,875. Kasi purchases naman yung pinag-uusapan, so hindi naman magkakaiba yon. Saan sila pwede magkaiba? Tingnan po yung issuances ng weighted average, 44,523. May konting error po dahil may correction tayo dyan. 44,523, let's assume na ito ay correct right now. Pag pinunta natin si FIFO, it's 44,475. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, dito siya magkakaiba sa issuances. Bakit kaya? Kasi dito na gumagamit ng, sa moving average, yung average cost. Sa FIFO, you are always considering yung earliest cost muna, hindi yung latest cost. Kaya magkaiba sila ng total amounts, total issued na materials. Pero ending inventory natin, June 30, ito po, total inventory, 84 plus 4,000, that's 12,400. Magkano kay weighted average? Silipin lang po natin, balik lang tayo. Kay weighted average, it's 12,461.55. Magkano kay FIFO? 12,400. Konting-konting difference lang. Kasi konting transaction lang to. Pero pag nagtagal yan, syempre, may impact na rin yan sa atin. May baka maging significant na rin yung difference. Pero at the end of the day, sabi nga natin pag inventory, nag-automatic correct din naman siya. Okay, so I hope you are able na to use the stock card to understand and alam na natin kung paano natin gagamitin yung stock card sa exam. Na pag stock card ang binigay, ganito siya i-perform, tapos ganito. Pag tinanong ang raw materials used, tingin sa issuances. Pag tinanong ang purchases, tingin sa receipts. Pag tinanong ang ending balance at any point, tingin sa balances column. Alright? So that's weighted average and FIFO, the two most common inventory valuation methods. Ayan. Ayan. So let's go to learning objective 2. So learning objective 2 natin. So we have here special problem in material accounting. Discount, kilala nyo na to noon pa. We have what we call quantity discount and cash discount. Kung maalala nyo, yung gross method nyo noon at saka net method. Yung gross method, ang tawag din sa kanya ay when taken method. Yung net method, when not taken method. So explain po natin yan. Yung quantity discount, wala po tayong example dito or wala tayong entries dito. Kasi that represent yung cost savings for volume purchases. If you remember, tulad ng trade discount noon, yung may discount na 15%, 20%, and 25%. Ano ginagawa niyo dyan? Yung invoice, yung list price, let's say 1 million yung list price, minumultiply natin ng, kung may 15 sa una, times 85%. Kung may 20 sa pangalawa, times 80%. Kung may 25 dito, times 75%. Yan po yung invoice price. Whatever difference na meron tayo, hindi po natin inire-record sa libro. So that's for quantity discount. Okay, so we just record the purchase dun po sa invoice price na talaga natin. Number 2, cash discount. Diba itong cash discount, ito po yung granted to customers para ma-motivate sila para magbayad ng maaga within the discount period. Okay? So may dalawang methods tayo. Yung gross method at net method. From the term itself, yung initial na pag-recognize kapag itong gross method, kung magkano yung invoice price, yun po yung amount ng materials or purchases na i-recognize natin. Pero kapag net method, automatically yung initial recording natin, tatanggalin po natin yung discount. Ano naman yung gustong tukuyin ng ibang pangalan ng methods na to? Itong when taken and when not taken. When taken method. Parang sinabi lang niya na i-record mo at gross. Kapag na-take mo lang yung discount, that's the only time na i-recognize mo yung discount. So saka mo lang siya i-minus. Sabi ng pangalawa, when not taken, i-record mo na ng net yan. Tsaka mo na isipin yan na ibalik kung hindi yan na-take yung discount. Ibig sabihin, hindi na-take advantage yung discount. Okay? So yun yung difference ng dalawa. Sabi dito, ito ay importante. It is called when not taken method because even if the account is paid within the discount period, walang purchase discount is recorded. And therefore, yung bumabasa ng financial statements, wala siya idea na meron palang na-avail na discount doon. Okay? Ayan. So, let's just have this example. JJ Company purchase materials listed at 40,000. Ang terms, 215 and 30 on September 1. So, ang tanong ngayon, moving forward, naka-perpetual na po tayo na mention natin kanina na perpetual na talaga tayo. Actually, yun na nakaraan din. So let us assume na ang full payment ay September 14. Yung pangalawang scenario, ang full payment ay September 30. So please try to give the entries to record the purchase and payments, assuming when taken at saka when not taken methods are, in-edit yung grammar, methods are used. Okay? So, let's try this one. So again, sinunod ko lang dito ulit. When JJ Company purchase materials listed at 40,000, ayan. September 1 to. So anong entry mo ng September 1? Kapag when taken method o gross yung ating method. Di ba sabi natin, i-recognize mo ng buo. So debit, materials, or raw materials inventory. Tawagin na lang natin materials. So debit, materials, and credit accounts payable gross amount. Okay? Eh, nagbayad ka ng September 14, pasok ba sa discount period? Yes, kaya dito, when taken method, kapag na-take advantage ng discount, i-recognize mo. Pero anong entry? Anong entry natin? Patingin nga, pa isang entry lang kapag magbabayad ka, tapos na-take mo yung discount. Tapos, syempre, yung cash that you're going to pay is less. Patingin nga ng entry, pa isa naman sa inyo. Ayan. Sir, may parecitation. Sabi ko nga baka delayed na konti ang dating. Yeah, ayun, thank you very much. Hindi ko na lang sasabihin kung sino man ito. Debit, accounts payable, 40,000. Tama naman. Kaya bitin naman, nasan pa yung karugtong nung debit natin. Debit lang ang binigay, 40,000. Ano yung credit mo? Yung hinihintay ko yung credit natin. Okay, tama. Debit, accounts payable, 40. Bakit pare-parehas kayo ng debit lang binibigay? O yung credit din, pengi. So debit lang, sure, ganun. Okay. Sige. So, sige, sabihin na natin. Ayun, meron na. Ayan, thank you. So, debit, accounts payable, credit, cash, 39,200 kasi 2% yung discount. So, 2% ng 40,000 ay 800. So, ito yung mamaminus sa babayaran natin. So, you are correct. Accounts payable, 40,000. Credit cash, 39,200. And ano pa isang credit? We are under perpetual inventory system. Kaya hindi po tayo gagamit ng Hindi tayo gagamit ng purchase discount. Hindi tayo gagamit ng purchase returns and allowances. Instead, materials. Remember, entry natin pag nag-return, pag bumili, debit, materials, credit, accounts payable. Nung nag-return, debit, AP, credit, materials. Gumamit ba tayo ng purchase returns and allowances? No, ang ginamit natin ay materials. Same with discount. We will not use purchase discount, but instead, we will use materials. Okay? Kasi, sabi nga natin, sa perpetual, dapat in and out, debit and credit po ang katumbas para reflected sa balance ng materials at any point kung magkano man siya dapat. Okay? So, ingatan po yun. Hindi po purchase discount, kundi materials. Pero totoo, ang nature ng materials na credit mo dito ay yung purchase discount or cash discount taken. Okay? Ayan. Thank you. And then, paano kung nagbayad ka September 30 na? Wala ng cash discount. Ito po yung simpleng payment lang. So, debit, accounts, or ayaw lumitaw. Debit accounts payable, 40,000 and credit cash na 40,000. So yan po kapag when taken method, only when taken, tsaka ka lang mag-recognize ng discount but not purchase discount account but materials account. Okay? So let's go to when not taken. Nakanet muna siya. So may idea ka na kung magkano yung amount sa September 1. That should be debit, materials 39,200 and accounts payable 39,200. So in-assume mo na matitake advantage mo yung discount. Okay? Kaya naman noong September 14, pasok sa discount period, mukhang ito lang din. Debit, accounts payable, and credit cash, 39,200. Ayan. And this time, paano naman kung September 30 na nagbayad, tapos naka-net method ka, when not taken, hindi mo nga na-take yung method. Yung method, yung discount. Pwede ba uli? Yung September 30 naman ang hihingin kong entry sa inyo. Tingnan ko nga kung anong entry po. Sige, Elaine, anong entry mo, Elaine? Nagtaas ang kamay si Elaine. Hi, Elaine. Anong entry mo September 30?
Sir, debit po, accounts payable, tapos sales discount for prepaid. Credit po, cash.
Credit to cash. Hindi uso amount para safe. Okay, debit accounts payable. Magkano accounts payable mo? Debit daw accounts payable na
39,200.
correct, 39,200. Tapos, may isa pang debit.
Yung sales discount for purchase discount.
Purchase discount. Kaya lang, di ba sabi natin kanina, hindi na tayo gagamit ng purchase discount. Anong ilalagay natin dito?
Materials.
Correct. Materials na magkano?
800 po.
800. Kasi di ba, inisip mo kasi noon, pag na-take 39,200, hindi na-take. So dapat ang entire materials would cost 40,000. Okay? And anong credit natin? Siyempre, magbayad ka ng buong 40,000. Kasi nag-recognize ka ng 39 year pero di mo na-take yung discount. Kaya you pay the entire 40,000. Okay? So thank you, Elaine, for participating. So yan. So any questions when taken and when not taken? May nakita ko na nag-chat. I'll just check if this is a question. Yan. Debit materials, debit accounts payable 39,200 and credit cash 40,000. You're correct. Thank you, thank you. Ayan. So any question? Kung wala, I'll just proceed with the next objective. Ayan. Actually, yung topic natin today, sabi ko nga, nung nag-chapter 1 tayo, chapters 1 to 6 yun. Nung chapter 2 tayo, chapters 1 to 6 pa rin to. Kasi lahat mako-cover po. Pag sinabi mo accounting for materials, lahat ng may kinalaman sa materials, whether chapter 1 hanggang 6, lahat pag-uusapan natin. Okay, so special problem in material accounting. Freight in naman. If you remember noong unang meeting natin, na-mention ko yung entry na kapag nagsoli ka, di ba, perpetual inventory system. Yung raw materials inventory mo includes both na invoice price, ano pa isa? Yung freight in natin. Pag nagsoli ka ng materials na defective, hindi mo naman ma-reimburse yung freight in. Yung invoice price lang. Kaya naman, generally, sabi natin, we charge it to factory overhead. Pero ito, mas specific na yung ating discussion kung paano ba talaga natin i-account ang freight in. So we have two. Meron tayong tinatawag na direct charging at saka indirect charging. Just in case direct charging ang pag-uusapan natin, meron tayong dalawang methods. It's either peso value or relative weight method. Pero bakit kasi napag-usapan yun? Kasi ganito yan. Kung ang binibili mo material ay material A lang, isang klase ng material lang, tapos ang freight in na binayaran mo dyan, lahat ng freight in na yon, ikakarga mo lang sa material na yon. Okay? What if ang scenario, you have materials A, B, C, D, and E. Isang bili ang ginawa mo sa iisang supplier. Tapos may freight in po. Ang tanong ngayon, paano mo hahatiin yung freight in natin sa 5 klaseng materials? Kasi siyempre hindi naman clearly identifiable kung magkano kaya yung freight in ng material A, magkano kaya yung para sa B, magkano yung para sa C. Kaya in-estimate na lang using these two possible na methods, relative peso and relative weight. So yun yung pag-usapan natin. Okay? Oh, sorry. Ayan. So direct charging, sabi natin, ito yung usual na ginagawa natin na debit raw materials inventory and credit accounts payable. Wherein the raw materials inventory include yung invoice price plus the freight in. Ito po yung usual na ginawa natin ng nakaraang meeting. So ibig sabihin, pag problem ay silent, naka-direct charging kasi tayo. Okay? Pero kapag indirect charging po, indirect charging na tayo, sabi rito, the freight incurred on the purchase of raw materials is charged to factory overhead control. So ang entry mo ay debit raw materials inventory and credit factory overhead para sa freight in na kahiwalay. Indirect charging po yun. Okay? So pero pag walang sinabi sa problem, naka-direct charging po tayo. Alright? Dito po tayo sa una natin na pag-usapan. So kung direct charging nga, relative peso value method ang gamitin mo para i-distribute yung freight ng iba't ibang materials na binili mo lang sabay-sabay. So ibig sabihin, ang relative peso value is yung invoice cost ng mga materials na yan. Ibig sabihin, i-allocate mo lang based sa invoice cost nila. Relative weight. So freight is allocated on the basis of the weight of the items purchased. Minsan literal na weight. Minsan yung weight na parang there's parang factor lang na minumultiply for some reason. Ang literal na weight kasi syempre, depende sa bigat naman talaga ng mga materials. Yun yung may impact din yun sa nagde-deliver. Syempre mas nade-depreciate yung truck na pan-deliver kapag mas mabigat yung yung materials na in order mo. So parang ang understanding doon, so you just have to divide the freight in based on weight of the materials. Okay, so let's have this example. Ayan. So an invoice for materials A, B, and C is received from the Nueva Corporation. So the invoice totals si A, 25,000, si B, 15,000, si C, 10,000. Ayan. Total ng invoice price natin, 25, 15 plus 10, 50,000, right? Ayan. So the freight charge on the shipment weighing 8,000 pounds is 1,500. So, ang pamasahe natin ay 1,500. Freight in. Shipping weights for the respective materials are 5,000, 2,000, and 1,000 respectively for A, B, and C. Ang tanong, anong entry natin to record the purchase of materials and the freight using direct charging method and using indirect? Ano sabi natin? Pag direct, kasama sa raw materials inventory. Pag indirect, papasok siya sa FOH. Sabi sa number 2, the cost per pound to be entered in the materials ledger cards for A, B, and C if freight is allocated using relative peso value and relative weight method. Kumbaga, magkano na yung unit cost ng A natin, B, and C using these two allocation methods. Okay, so didistribute natin yung 1,500 sa kanilang tatlo. Paano? Sabi ng una, relative peso value on the basis of the invoice cost. Sabi ng relative weight, ito po yung weight ng A, B, and C. Hatiin mo yung 1,500 accordingly. Okay? So, yan. So, ano entry natin pag charging method? So, debit, everything is charged to materials na 51,500 and credit accounts payable of 51,500. That's the usual entry that we had even before. And indirect charging, ano entry mo dito? Debit, materials, 50,000 lang. And debit, factory overhead control na 1,500. And credit, accounts payable of 51,500. The difference lies here. Okay? Nag-split yung freight in at saka yung invoice cost pagdating sa indirect charging. So I hope it's clear on that part. Ang tanong ngayon, how do we allocate using the relative peso value method? Ito po yun. Relative peso value method, di ba sabi natin invoice cost ang ating pagbabasihan. So nilista ko na dito yung invoice cost, 25, 15, 10, and ayan, total is 50. Ang share in freight ng A, B, and C, ang total freight in kasi is 1,500. Hatiin natin based sa balances na yan. Okay? Ako, dinidiretso ko na, 25 over 50, that would be 50%. Burahin ko lang po. Okay? 25 over 50 times 1,500, that would be 750, right? Tapos 15 over 50,000. Ito po, 15 over 50, multiply natin na 1,500. So that would be 450. Ayan. Tapos isa naman, 10 over 50 ng 1,500. So 10 over 50 times 1,500, that would be 300. So dinistribute mo lang yung 1,500 according sa invoice cost. Kaya ang total cost po ng A would be 25,750. Yung kay B, 15,450. Kay C, 10,300. Kaya ang total po natin ay 51,500. Anong entry natin dito? Debit materials na 51,500. Credit accounts payable 51,500. Okay, yun din naman pala entry, buo-buo rin naman. Yes, pero pagdating sa stock card, ang ilalagay kong unit cost niya would be 25,750 divided by ilang units po ba? Ilang units po ba or ilang pounds ba yung A, B, and C? Actually, I forgot. Balik lang ako sa taas. Ilang pounds ba A, B, and C? Ang pounds ng A ay, ayan, 5, 2, and 1. Ayan, balik po tayo. Ayan. So 5,000 pounds kay A, 2,000 pounds kay B, 1,000 pounds kay C. So magkano cost per pound? So 25,750 divided by 5,000 pounds. So ang cost natin kay A ay 5.15 per unit. Pero kung tutusin, yung original cost niya walang freight in, 25,000 divided by 5,000, 5 lang siya. Pero dahil may freight in na allocated sa kanya, 5.15 yung cost per pound niya. Nakuha po? Ayan. How about si B? So that's 15,450. Ito po, 15,450 divided by 2,000 pounds. So that would be 7.725 or 7.73 per pound. How about the other one? 10,300 divided by 1,000. So that would be 10.30. Okay? So that is how we distribute yung freight in sa mga materials. Pero yung ibang libro, may percentage pa sila nalalaman dito. Paano percentage? Ang ginagawa lang po dyan, ito po. Yung 1,500 po kasi na freight in, kung ang basis pala ay peso sale method, peso value method, so i-divide mo lang ng total, peso value. So ibig sabihin, 3% ang freight in. Ang gawin mo daw, i-multiply mo to ng 3%, you can get 750. Tama naman. So 25,000 times 3%. Lahat ng to, i-multiply natin ng 3%, tama pa rin. Times 3%. So sa akin, mas nabibilisan ako, na diretso na ako rito, hindi na ako magaganito. Pero there are other students o may ibang professors, may iba na mas komportable, kunin niya muna yung percentage ng freight in over the total invoice cost or yung total na basis niya 3%. So kahit alin din sa methods na yon, pwedeng gawin kung saan ka mas komportable. Alright? Ayan. So yung next po na slide is actually yun po, ni-reveal ko lang yung mga nakasulat kanina. So if I erase all these things, ayan din po nakasulat. Okay. Yeah. This time, for letter B, we're going to use the relative weight method. Ito naman, diretso ka na dun sa weight ng mga yan. Ayan. Freight ay 1.5. So, pwede natin gawin yung 1.5 divided by, dito na sa gilid, yung 1,500 na freight in, divide mo sa basis. Ito po, 8,000. Ibig sabihin, that's 1.5 divided by 8,000. Ilang percent? That's 18.75%. So, yun yung ito yung nandito sa tatlo na yan. I-multiply mo to get the share in freight. Or tulad ng sabi natin kanina, 1.5 to. So, 1.5 times 5,000 over 8,000. Tapos dito sa pangalawa, 1.5 times 2,000 over 8,000. Sa pangatlo, 1.5 times 1,000 over 8,000. Pero again, kung alin ang mas convenient ka na gamitin, itong may 0.1875, i-multiply mo lang po yan, yung dalawa na yan, you will get the share in freight. Tapos, you can get the total cost. Ayan, saan galing total cost? Diba, ito naman yung dinagdag natin dito. Yung invoice cost nila, 25,000. I forgot, 15,000 yung isa, and 10,000 yung isa. Ayan. So, i-add mo lang yung mga freight in to get the total cost of each material. And to get the cost per pound, i-divide mo ulit itong total cost with the number of pounds here. So that would be 5.1875. Kung mapapansin mo, may konting difference with the relative peso value method kasi magkaiba ng basis. Okay? So ano ba dapat ang gamitin? It depends on the company kung ano yung set niya ang magiging basis ng distribution ng freight rate. Any questions so far? So I'm hoping that it's clear. Ayan. Oops! Learning objective number 4. Would you like to have a break or shall I continue? Si Crisan ang magde-decide. Yes, Crisan, magbe-break ba tayo ng mga 10 minutes or magko-continue tayo?
Sir, break na lang po muna.
Okay, break po muna tayo. So kung sino man po ang nagre-record, paki-pause po muna ang recording. So let's have a 10 minute. Okay, welcome back. So we are going to answer yung mga questions natin while we are on break. So ito po yung dalawang questions na nakuha natin. First, ayan. Sir, yung entry po ba sa dalawang method, yung kanina, yung relative peso value at saka yung relative weight method ang tinutukoy niya. Debit, raw materials, inventory, and credit accounts payable, the answer ay correct. Kasi po, direct charging po yun. Kaya po tayo nag-allocate kasi direct charging, gusto natin na ma-absorb ng raw materials so amount ng overhead. Ayan. So tama ka po doon. Tapos pangalawa, sa stock card specific lang po yung sa A, B, and C. Siguro ang ibig mo sabihin dito, may impact ba siya sa entry? Kasi may mga ibang companies na siguro ang materials nila ay 2 piraso lang o 3 piraso. Kaya ang ginagawa nila, separate na subsidiary ledger or separate talaga na account yung raw material A, raw material B, and raw material C. So if we go back dito po sa, nandito natin, erase ko lang po yung mga nakasulat. So ito po ay direct charging. Yung entry po natin, yung typical na entry natin ay debit, raw materials, inventory. Magkano po ito? 51,500 and credit. Accounts payable, 51,500. That would be your entry. But there are companies na talagang debit, raw materials A, debit, raw materials B, debit, raw materials C. Magkano po yun? 25,937.50, 15,375, 10,187.50, and credit accounts payable na 51,500. May ibang companies po na naka-breakdown po yan. Pero ito po yung typical na entry natin dito. Ang importante, kahit ito yung maging actual na debits natin, yung amount na ay yaan pa rin. Kung ito naman po kasi ang debit natin, nakalagay sa RMI lahat, subsidiary ledger, yung raw materials A, B, and C, na dun po makikita magkano yung pumasok or yung distribution ng cost natin kay A, B, and C. Okay? Ayan. Pero isi-check ko po kung nasagot ba yung tanong. Oops. Nawala yung screen sharing ko. Ayan. Check ko po kung nasagot yung tanong or may follow-up question ata. I'll just check. Yan. Sir, clarify ko po yung sa FIFO kanina. Bakit po hindi kinuha ng buo yung 600 sa beginning inventory? Yung kanina, FIFO. Okay, balikan po natin ha. FIFO. Ba't hindi kinuha ng 600 na buo? Hindi ba? Pa tayo bumalik? Okay. Layo na narating mo ha. Ayun, hindi na mo pala. Ito. Okay. Ito po. Ito po yung sa FIFO natin kanina. So, di po ba? Ano muna tayo dito? Nag-purchase. Kaya 750 at 400. Wala pang kinukuha. Tapos nung kumuha ng 600, kinuha po siya sa 750. Kaya ang natira po sa 750 ay 150 noong June 4. So kinuha po natin doon lahat. Kasi itong 400 po ay yung original na 1950 ang cost. Okay? So baka na-overlook lang. Or ito ba yung tinatanong mo doon sa nagtanong po? May I know your response? Yung ba yung bakit po hindi kinuha ng buo yung 600 sa beginning inventory? Kinuha po natin, ha? Ayan. Okay. Sige. No worries, overlook lang ata. Okay, so any more question? Wala. This time, actually ito ay chapter 6, pero materials pa rin kasi talaga ang concern. Okay? Ayan, so thank you for your questions. At least na-clarify natin sa lahat. So this time, learning objective 4, so we are going to account for spoiled materials. Kasi ngayon, ang pag-aaralan natin, accounting for materials yung mga nauna, susunod pang spoiled, pangatlo yung mga defective naman na units, tapos yung scrap na materials, and then paano ba natin i-manage talaga yung level ng inventory natin. So yun yung mga pag-uusapan pa natin in the next few hours. Okay, so accounting for spoiled materials. Ano ba yung spoiled materials na tinutukoy natin? Define natin in a while. Tapos, sabi dito, ang spoiled materials, yung cost niyan, kasi di ba na-spoil, so may loss tayo dyan. Yung cost niyan would be charged either to a specific job or to all production. Pag sinabi mong i-charge sa specific job, you have jobs 1, 2 hanggang 10. Alam mo naman kung anong job number identified, yung spoiled na units na yan. Let's say sa job number 2. So doon mo i-charge yung cost ng mga spoiled materials. Pag sinabi mong i-charge, ibig sabihin po, idadagdag po natin sa cost. Okay? O kaya, pag sinabi mong charge to specific job, naka-work in process po siya. Cost pa rin siya, di ba? Pag chinarge mo to all production, naka-factory overhead po siya. So tingnan natin mamaya, bakit naging work in process? Bakit naging factory overhead? Okay, so ano ba yung definition ng spoiled units? Units that do not meet production standards. In other words, hindi nga siya defective, iba yung defective eh. In other words, hindi talaga siya according sa kung ano yung ina-expect natin na good units. Especially, minsan pag pumunta ka sa mall, may mga damit na naka-sale. Tapos may sa ibang mga naka-sale, sobrang baba kasi may kulang ng botones o kaya may butas or ibig sabihin, hindi talaga perfectly sumunod sa standard. They are either sold at salvage value. Kaya naman, di ba, mas mura yung mga yun. Or discarded. Ibig sabihin, talagang itatapon mo na lang or the total cost would be a loss on your part. Kasi kapag pwede pa siya mabenta at salvage value, yung total loss mo mababawasan kahit papano. Meron kang tinatawag na recovered cost. Yung amount ng proceeds mo ng spoiled units mo or spoiled goods. When spoiled units are discovered, they are then taken out of production and no further work is performed. Ibig sabihin, they are taken out. So ibig sabihin talagang is either tatapon na talaga or ibebenta ng mura or minimal na market value lang yung spoiled units natin. Okay? Ayan. Example, if a batch of bread is left in the oven too long and burns, hindi mo na yan mababalik sa dati niyang form at para maging tinapay ulit na kabenta-benta. So it's either tapon mo na yung tinapay o yung iba binebenta ng kasi baka medyo sunog lang naman. So baka pwedeng mabenta ng mas mura. Okay. There are 3 types ng spoilage. So tingnan mabuti. Normal, actually dalawa yung major, normal at saka abnormal. Yung normal nga lang, nakahati lang sa dalawa. Kaya tinawag na lang natin na 3 types of spoilage. Yung isa, normal, pero attributable to a specific job. Tulad ng sinabi ko, alam mo kung kaninong job number talaga, attributable yung spoilage. Sabi rito, the spoilage costs are charged to that job. Lilinawin ko po. Pag sinabi mong charge to that specific job, we charge it to work in process. Dapat nasa work in process po yun. Okay? Pero if normal spoilage ay common to all jobs, the costs are charged to factory or manufacturing overhead and spread through overhead allocation over all jobs. Di ba ang ginagawa natin? Ang mga overhead natin, dinedetermine natin or tinototal natin, tapos ina-allocate lang natin sa mga number of units or this time i-allocate natin, kasama siya sa i-allocate sa lahat ng jobs. Pero Mamaya, mas detalyado tayo sa normal spoilage common to all jobs. Yung pangatlo naman, the abnormal spoilage is charged. This is charged immediately to loss from abnormal spoilage account that appears on the income statement. And normally it happens kapag yung mga spoilage natin is beyond the set limit ng company. Dapat, alam mo naman na mayroong spoilage. Normally, mga kunwari 2% lang. Kaso, naging 6% ang spoiled. Yung 4%, yun yung abnormal na. Yung 2% nasa normal pa. Pero ang tanong sa normal, is it attributable sa specific job or is it common to all jobs? Okay? Ayan. So ito yung pinakamas detalyadong explanation ng charge to a specific job. Ibig sabihin, this method is used if the reason for the spoilage is the job itself. Bakit? Meron kasing exacting specification. Maaaring complicated kasi yung manufacturing process. So, dahil tinanggap mo yun, merong understanding din also with the customer na talagang due to exacting specification, the unit cost could increase yung unit cost ng mga finished goods kasi talagang prone siya sa spoilage. And that would be charged to that specific job. Okay? And then, anong entry natin? Sabi natin, kapag charged to a specific job, dapat nasa work in process. Paano yan na-spoil? Anong entry mo? No entry. Bakit naging no entry? Paliwanag muna natin ha. Bakit naging no entry? Kasi, ang entry mo, kung 1,000 units ang pinoproduce mo, ang entry mo, nung inisyo mo sa production, lahat yan ay debit, work in process, credit, raw materials inventory, credit, factory payroll, and credit, factory overhead. Chinarge mo na lahat sa work in process. However, meron kasing spoiled na 100, kaya ang ma-deliver mo na lang sa customer mo ay 900 units. Ang tanong, dun sa 100 units, dapat i-charge mo sa work in process. Pero kung titingnan mo, naka-charge na siya kanina pa or dati pa sa work in process. Sabi, i-charge sa work in process. So ibig sabihin, wala ka ng entry na gagawin dahil naka-charge na. Except kapag may mare-recover kang cost. Paano mare-recover na cost? Ito kasing spoiled goods natin na 100. Loss na sana lahat yung 100, ipa-absorb na yan sa customer. Kaya lang, meron naman na proceeds. So, kahit paano, bawasan naman natin yung ipapa-absorb natin sa customer or sa job. Kaya ileless mo yung spoiled goods. Ibig sabihin, yung amount ng spoiled goods would be the amount of work in process na tatanggalin mo sa record mo dito. Okay? Kaya ang entry mo, kapag may proceeds ka ng spoiled units, debit, spoiled goods, and credit, work in process. Klaro tayo na pag attributable to specific job. Pero again, kung walang mare-recover, no entry po tayo dahil naka-work in process na. Bakit mo krinedit ito? Babawasin mo kasi dito sa work in process na chinarge mo lahat sa job na yan. So para bawasin, ilagay po sa credit yung work in process with the amount ng spoiled goods. Sabi dito, the amount debited ng spoiled goods at work in process dapat equal siya sa number of units spoiled. Ilan ba yung na-spoil? 100. Multiplied by estimated sales value per unit. Magkano mo ba madidispose? So, mabibenta mo na lang ng 20. So, ibig sabihin, 2,000 ang spoiled goods. 2,000 spoiled goods, yung maging possible proceeds mo pag nabenta, 2,000 yung naibawas mo sa work in process, sa cost na matcha-charge mo sa job na yan. Natural lang naman na kung wala kang mare-recover at all, charge sa kanya lahat yan kasi dahil lang naman din niya sa complicated the process ng order niya. Pero kung may mare-recover ka, huwag mo naman i-charge lahat, ibawas mo po yung recovered amount. Okay? Sa example mamaya, mas maiintindihan natin yan. Yung pangalawang scenario, we are going to charge to all jobs. So, basahin muna natin. This method is used if the reason for the spoilage is considered normal to the production process. Normal lang talaga yon. Tapos hindi siya nag-exceed ng limit na sinet ng kumpanya. So tulad ng sabi ko kanina, sometimes 2% lang pero umabot ng 5 or 6% yung excess sa 2% would be the abnormal. So yung 2%, ito yung pinag-uusapan natin dito. And provided na ito ay chargeable to all jobs. All units manufactured during the period are charged with an additional cost which is added to factory overhead. Pag kasi work in process mo nilagay yan, tataas yung cost ng job. Eh hindi nga, charge mo siya sa lahat ng jobs. Ilagay mo sa factory overhead. Tapos sabi rito, the unit cost originally charged will not increase anymore. Balik mo tayo. Hindi natin ipapapasan sa customer yung mga ganitong charges. That would be borne by the company. Okay? So sabi rito, even if there are spoiled units discovered later on. Okay, anong entry natin? So sabi natin kanina, debit, factory overhead, and credit, ibawas mo yan kasi dapat hindi i-charge sa customer and naka-WIP siya initially, so tanggalin mo sa WIP. Tama? Tapos debit, FOH, ito yung loss natin, credit yung WIP na loss na hindi ma-charge kay job or kay customer. Pero ito ay kapag walang proceeds yung spoiled goods. Pero kung may proceeds yan, yung unrecovered na lang ang maiiwan sa FOH at magkakaroon po tayo ng spoiled goods. Debit spoiled goods for the recovered amount, yung proceeds natin ng nabenta yung spoiled units. And debit, factory overhead control, yung natitira, yung unrecovered cost or loss natin. And credit, work in process. Okay? Bakit work in process here? Because the entire amount of the spoiled units should not be borne by the customer. Therefore, it will be taken out sa work in process initially charged to them. Kaya i-credit mo na ngayon dito. Okay? So actually, ito yung pinaliwanag ko dito kanina. Pero let's just read. Baka may na-miss out akong important words. The amount debited to the spoiled goods is equal to the number of units spoiled multiplied. Ito po, by the estimated sales value per unit. Kamukha lang din ng kanina. And then the amount credited to work in process is equal to the cost incurred or charged to the spoiled units. Again, the loss is charged to factory overhead control. Pag tinanong, magkano yung loss na na-charge sa factory overhead control? Yung WIP natin talaga. Pero syempre, minus the recovery. Okay, so nakakita konti kasi. So again, sabi ko dun sa last part, the amount debited to spoiled goods is equal to the number of units spoiled multiplied by the estimated sales value per unit. Ito rin po yung computation natin kanina. Magkano ba yung minimal market value na tinutukoy natin na yan times the number of spoiled units. And then, the amount credited to work in process is equal to the total loss incurred or charged to the spoiled units. Tapos yung loss is charged to factory overhead. The loss is net of the recovered natin na amount. Ano yung recovered na amount? Yung spoiled goods. Okay? Ayan. So, ayan, meron pang note. When normal spoilage is common to all jobs, the budgeted manufacturing overhead includes a provision or sometimes we call it allowance for normal spoilage cost. Ibig sabihin, yung overhead natin, may nakasama na doon na allowance for spoilage cost. Kung 60 pesos yan, sasabihin niya, exclusive of allowance na 2. Ibig sabihin, ang overhead mo should be 62. Okay? Kapag common to all jobs. Tapos sabi pa rito, normal spoilage is spread through overhead allocation over all jobs rather than allocated to a specific job. Kaya nga po ang factory overhead ang ginagamit natin o dinedebit natin na paglalagyan natin ng loss or yung unrecovered cost natin because that will be absorbed by all jobs rather than any specific na job. Okay? Ito pala, emphasize ko lang 60 and 62. Ulitin ko, 60 exclusive of the allowance and normal spoilage common to all jobs. Isama mo po yung allowance kung 2 pesos man yun, kaya naging 62. Pero sabi lang 60, wala naman sinabi ng iba, you will assume na kasama na yung allowance pag wala namang sinasabi. Alright? Ayan. Next. Defective materials naman tayo. Kung kanina, mga spoiled ang pinag-usapan natin, this time pag-usapan natin, what if defective lang yung materials? Ano bang kaibahan ng defective at saka ng spoiled? Yung pong accounting natin sa spoiled at defective, dalawa din patutunguhan natin dito. Is it being charged to a specific job or ito ba ay sa all production? Again, hindi magbabago. Work in process. Hindi magbabago. Factory overhead din po yan. Pero magkaiba po yung nature ng dalawa. Why? Defective units, kamukha ng spoiled, do not meet production standards. Pero ang difference, it must be processed further, may ED, in order to be saleable as good units as irregular units. Ibig sabihin, sa spoiled, 1,000 units kasi yung initial mo na ginawa, yung original. Tapos, 100 yung spoiled. Ilan mo deliver mo sa customer? 900 lang, right? Pero kung defective po yung units, defective, 1,000 ang original na ginagawa mo, 100 ay defective. Ilan naman deliver sa customer? 1,000 pa rin. Bakit? Kasi i-rework mo, ipaprocess mo further. Ibig sabihin, magiging good units yung defective na yan. So all in all, 1,000. Kaya lang, yung 100 po na to, i-rework mo. Di ba sabi, pa-process mo further. Pag nag-rework ka, that would require, may materials ka na naman, may labor ka na naman, at saka may factory overhead ka. In other words, meron kang cost to rework. At yung cost to rework na yan, ang pinag-uusapan natin na i-charge ba to sa customer o i-charge ba to sa lahat ng jobs? Meaning, i-absorb ng company. So yun po yung tanong natin dito. Okay? So, example po nito, if a television set does not produce any sound, it can be reworked to correct the problem. And then later on, sold as a good unit. Ayan. So next, ayaw mag-proceed. Ayan. 3 types of rework. Parang 3 types of spoilage din kanina. Yung isa, normal rework attributable to specific job. Again, charge to work in process. Ano yung itsura nun? Debit. Work in process. And credit, ano yung charge mo? Charge mo yung materials. Charge mo yung labor. Charge mo yung overhead. Ayan. Ano to? Yung magkano ba yung cost mo ng pag-rework? So that would be the work in process na madadagdag sa cost ng job na yon or ng customer. Number 2, normal rework common to all jobs. The costs are charged to factory overhead and spread through overhead allocation over all jobs. So parehas lang din ng spoiled. So debit, bakit work in process yan? Debit, factory overhead. Diba doon daw charge? And credit, raw materials inventory. Credit, factory payroll. Credit, factory overhead. Oops, ito kasi yung applied. Ito uli yung actual, yung cost of rework. Parehas silang FOH. Mag-denegate din sila later on. Kasama po to sa mga actual FOH natin. Alright? Ay, tapos, abnormal rework, sobra, excessive na yung cost to rework. So, ibig sabihin, that will be charged to loss from abnormal rework account. So, kanina, loss from spoilage account. Ngayon naman, loss from abnormal rework that appears on the income statement immediately. Okay, so debit, loss, and credit, raw materials inventory, factory payroll, and factory overhead. Diretso na po doon agad. Okay. Charge to a specific job, same for spoiled units. If the reason for the defect is the job itself, the additional cost incurred, yung labor overhead will be charged to all units. Yun yung explain ko kanina sa entries natin. Ayan na po pala, debit, work in process, credit, materials, payroll, and factory overhead. Paano kung chargeable to all jobs? Ano mapapalitan lang? Ito lang. Magiging factory overhead. Ito po siya. See? Yun lang po yung nagbago. Charging lang. Saan mo i-charge? Ano ba ang i-charge? Eh di ba nag-rework ka? Gumamit ka ng materials. Siyempre may nag-labor. May mga na-incur na factory. May in-apply tayong factory overhead. Saan mo i-charge? Kanina sa working process, ngayon sa factory overhead. Okay? Okay. Oops. Ayan. So this is our first example sa merong losses or spoilage. So ang Sitco company is a manufacturer of golf clothing. So during the month, the company cut and assembled 8,000 golf jackets. So yung original na units na ginagawa natin ay 8,000. Ayan. And 100 of the jackets did not meet specifications and were considered seconds. So 100 yung mga spoiled natin. Spoiled 100. So therefore, ilan na lang ma-deliver? 7,900 kasi spoiled na to. Seconds are sold at 100 pesos per jacket. So, bibenta na lang natin at 100 pesos per jacket. Whereas, the first quality jacket sell for at 400 pesos. So, yun yung difference nila. So, merong mas maliit na market value yung spoiled units natin. At least, hindi naman dispose immediately. So, during the month, work in process was charged for a total of 1,600,000. At ito po yung distribution yan. 400 materials, 800 labor, and 400 overhead. Ang question po, ano daw yung entries at saka unit cost nung ibebenta natin jacket sa customer kapag ang loss ay due to spoiled work which is spread over all jobs. Pero clue again, spread over all jobs. Malamang i-charge to sa factory overhead. Ito naman, is charge, dapat may D, is charge to specific job, i-charge to sa work-in process. Ano daw ang entries? And this time, ang tanong ay units selling price if the markup is 40%. O, ito na naman tayo sa markup ha. Mahaba ang kinompute pero nagkamali ng intindi ng markup. If the problem is silent, anong basis nito? Silent tayo. Sales ang basis ha. Kung may cost tayo, i-divide natin ng 60%. Kasi sales ang basis. Sales is a 100% kasi sales yung basis. Cost is 60 and then the markup is 40%. So I hope clear tayo sa difference ng markup at markup on cost. Ayan. Okay, solve po natin yung number 1. Kapag loss due to spoiled work is spread over all jobs. Okay, so ano ba muna yung entry natin initially? Debit, work in process, para po sa 8,000 na jacket. Debit, work in process, 1.6 million. Credit, raw materials inventory or materials sa 400,000. Tapos credit, factory payroll na 800,000. Credit, factory overhead na 400,000. So yan yung entry natin. Nilagay mo lahat yan kasi assuming na 8,000 gold jackets yung gagawin talaga. And then only to find out na may 100 na spoiled units. Again, kung walang proceeds sa jacket, anong entry mo para i-recognize yung sa spoiled units? Dapat i-charge, dapat i-charge sa factory overhead. So debit, factory overhead, the entire loss. However, may proceeds. Kaya meron ka ulit debit na spoiled goods. Ano gagawin natin dyan? Di ba chargeable to all jobs? So dapat tanggalin mo yung work in process associated po doon. Magkano po ba yun? Remember, 1.6 million po ang total cost natin. Divided by 8,000 golf jackets. Ibig sabihin, ang cost mo talaga ay 200 yung original. Okay? Ilang units yung spoiled natin? Di ba yun sabi natin na whip dito? Ilang units? 100 units. Multiply natin ng 200 pesos. The entire work in process that should be taken out sa work in process natin na dinebit should be magkano to? 20,000. Magkano yung spoiled goods natin? 100 pieces po yan. 100 pesos per unit ang proceeds natin. So ang debit natin dyan ay 10,000. Therefore, ang loss natin, ang unrecovered cost natin ay 10,000 din. Yung work in process less the factory overhead here. Ay less the spoiled goods, the recovered cost. Kaya unrecovered yung FOH natin na 10,000. So yan po yung entry natin. So that's for letter A, yung dalawa na yan. At tinatanong, unit cost of golf jacket. Ang pinakamadaling pag-intindi ng unit cost would be, ano ba yung whip? Ano ba yung whip na dinebit? 1.6 million. Ano yung whip na credit? 20,000. Eh unit cost ang tinatanong, ilang units ba yung good units natin? Ilang units? 7,900. Why? Spoiled kasi yung 100. So anong unit cost natin? Pag kinompute po natin to 1.6 minus 20,000 over 79, anong answer? 200. Oops, hindi nagbago yung unit cost. Remember, yung sinabi natin kanina, kapag chargeable to all jobs, kung magkano yung original na unit cost mo, dyan sa job mo na yan, hindi po siya magbabago. Why? Because whatever loss that we have here would be chargeable to all jobs taken out of that specific job. So pag nag-exam pala tayo, nakita nyo sa tanong, what is the unit cost? Eh nakita mo, spread over all jobs. Huwag ka nang mag-compute masyado. Mag-compute ka pala dito kasi hindi binigay. Huwag kang mag-compute masyado kasi it's just the 1.6 million over 8,000. Dahil sabi natin, hindi magbabago. Okay? Yan, so 200 lang. Even if you recompute, yun at yun din yung lalabas po. Okay? Yun ay totoo kapag overall jobs. Let's go to number 2. What if the loss is due to spoiled work that is chargeable to specific job? Kapag chargeable to specific job, ano sabi natin dito? Work in process. Dapat lang na i-absorb ng customer yon. Entry, work in process. Noong na-issue mo lahat ng materials, labor, and overhead, 1.6 million. Iba kaya to? Hindi. So materials, kaning materials natin? 400,000. Tapos payroll, factory payroll na lang, 800,000. Okay? And then factory overhead na 400,000. Yan. Parehas sila ng entry nung nauna, di ba? Ito po, parehas. So balik po tayo. Dito sila magkakatalo. Debit. A charge to specific job. Kung walang proceeds at all yung ating spoiled na jackets, anong entry natin? No entry. Why? Sabi mo ilagay mo sa whip. Eh nasa whip naman ako sa siya originally. So ano pang ilalagay mo? Wala. Eh nagkataon, meron kang proceeds, may na-recover na 100 pesos per jacket. Kaya ang entry mo ay yung para lang i-recognize yung na-recover mong cost na spoiled goods. Ilan yon? 100 units po times 100 pesos na jacket na selling price nun. So that would be 10,000 pesos. Magkano yung work in process na tatanggalin mo? Work in process, 10,000 pesos. Yung recovered lang. Okay? So, yan po yung sa A. Ano yung letter B? Ano daw yung unit selling price? So, get the unit selling price, you have to get the unit cost first. So, ang unit cost po natin ay Unit cost po natin, ano ba yung WIP natin before? It's 1.6 million minus the WIP this time na 10,000. Di ba may credit tayo na WIP? Over the number of good units which is 7,900. So the answer here is 201.27. So that would be your unit cost. Alright? Pero yung unit selling price po natin would be how much? Markup po is 40%. So 201.27 divided by 60%. So the unit selling price is how much? 335.44. Ayan. Alright. Okay, so may I request for mga 3 minutes na break lang. So can we pause for a while? Thank you very much. Yan. So again, unit selling price, wag po tayong malilito dito na if the markup is 40%, so that would be based on sales. So meaning, di-divide natin yung cost ng 60%. Siguro baka hindi lang ganun kalinaw sa atin yung based on sales and based on cost. Pakita ko lang po ng mabilis to. Okay? Kung ano ang basis, is either based on sales or based on cost. Yun yung 100% sa ipapakita natin. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Di ba, sales minus cost, we have our GP. The GP is the markup. Okay? So ang GP kasi na tinutukoy natin dito ay 40%, 40%. Ayan. Kung ano ang basis natin, yun yung 100%. Ito ang basis, so 100% yung sales. Ito ang basis, so 100% yung cost. Hindi gawin natin, work back tayo. Magkano, ilan percent yung cost dito? 60 to arrive at 40. Dito, ano ang sales natin? To arrive at 40, and minus 100, so 142. Kaya naman po, kapag ang basis ay cost, whatever cost is, ang ginagawa natin para makuha yung sales, ginagawa natin cost times 1.4. Di ba? Kapag based on cost. Pero pag based on sales, ang ating markup na sinabi, ibig sabihin yung markup natin ay na 40%, yung cost natin ay 1 minus the 40%, which is 60%. So ang gawin natin, i-divide natin yung given na cost or yung na-compute mo na cost by 60% to arrive at the 100%. Yun po yung difference ng dalawa. Kasi baka mamaya lagi ko sinasabi, if the problem is silent, ganito ganyan, hindi pala malinaw sa atin. So yun po yung difference nun. Again, parehas naman na cost yung pinagmulan, 201.27. Kung based on cost yung markup, 201.27 times 1.4 po yan. Okay? Pero since sales ang basis natin, di-divide natin ng 0.6 kasi the sales is 100%. We need to get to compute or to gross up papunta sa 100% yung ating data, which is yung cost na 60%. Okay? Ayan. So, we have another problem pagdating sa spoiled units. Para makita ninyo yung shortcuts. Dati, akala ko nung estudyante ako, ito yung pinakamahirap na topics. Pero pag naintindihan mo pala siya, na lalo na kapag chargeable to all jobs, tapos tinatanong lang ay unit cost, huwag ka nang mag-isip ng maraming beses kung ano yung original cost niyan, yun din yung cost niya dahil kahit may spoilage siya. So let us just prove now. Okay, so assuming that spoilage loss is charged to all production during August, what would be the unit cost of good coats produced on job 1? So we have here Tara Company's job 1 for the manufacture of 2,200 coats, so which was completed during August at the unit costs presented below. So final inspection of job 1 disclosed 200 is spoiled. So from 2 to ayaw lumabas. Ayan. So from 2,200 units, 200 units is spoiled, 2,000 lang ang good units natin, right? Ayan. Tapos sabi dito, itong 200 units pwedeng mabenta to a jobber at 10,000. So ang proceeds natin dito ay 10,000. So meron tayong recovered agad na nakikita. Ang tanong po dito, what would be the unit cost of the good coats produced on job 1? Anong sagot natin? Magkano po ba yung original na cost? 40, 20, 32. Magkano to? 92. 92 kaya ang sagot natin sa number 1. Sabi natin hindi magbabago, so it should be 92. But let us prove. Okay? So, anong entry mo ba? Hindi tinanong yung entry, gusto lang natin kompletohin. Kasi masagot na tayo dito, 92. But let us just prove. Walang sinolve, pero ito kagad yun. Ay, nag-solve pala, no, inad ko. Pero I mean, walang mahabang solution kung ano yung original cost nito. Yun na yung sagot natin dyan. Entry natin, debit, work in process. Magkano po ba? 92 times. Ilang units ba yung ginawa natin? 2,200. Yun nga lang, may na-spoil na 200. Pero, it should be 92 times 2,200. So, the amount is 202,400. Okay? And then, credit, materials, credit, factory payroll, credit, FOH. Magkanong materials po tayo? So that would be 40 times 2,200. So that's 88,000. Magkano factory payroll po tayo? That's 20 times 2,200. So that's 44,000. Magkano factory overhead po? That's 32 times 2,200. So that would be 70,400. Yan yung entry natin nung in-issue natin sa production, yung materials, labor, at saka overhead. Eh meron tayo uling spoiled units na 200. Ito ay chargeable to all jobs. So FOH ka na kagad. Okay? FOH sana lahat. Pero merong recovered. Spoiled goods may recovered. Anong credit mo? Tanggalin mo sa work in process. Alin? Eh dahil chargeable to all jobs, hindi dapat i-absorb ng job na yon, ng job 1. Kaya tanggalin mo yung buong associated sa spoiled units. Ilan po yun? 92 pesos times 200 units na spoiled. How much is that? That is 18,400. Yan po yung tatanggalin mo sa cost. Okay? Magkano spoiled goods ang i-recognize mo? Kung magkano yung proceeds sa jobber? Ayan, 10,000. Magkano unrecovered natin na loss? So that would be 8,400. Okay? Eh, tinatanong ay unit cost. Kanina, sabi natin, tingnan lang yung WIP. May debit na 202,400, right? Tapos may credit na 18,400. Ayan. So divided by ilang units ba yung good units? 2,000. Ang lumabas po sa akin ay 92. Ikaw ba ay mag-e-entry pa ng pagkahaba-haba at magsusolve ng ganito? Or simply tingnan mo lang, magkano ba yung total cost? It's 202,400. That is simply 92 times 2,200 units. Ilan ang spoiled? At magkano ang recovered cost? Ito po yun. So it is simply total cost minus recovered cost over good units. So, ang sagot ay 92. Habang na kinumpute mo, siya rin pala. Tandaan mo yung sinabi dito na hindi magbabago ang original cost kapag chargeable to all jobs. Okay? So anong sagot natin sa number 2? What is the amount of loss charged to factory overhead? The answer is 8,400 only. Kasi may recovered kang 10,000 sa spoiled goods. Alright? Let's go to next problem. Almost the same, binago ko lang yung given. So Tara Company pa rin. So 2,200 coats pa rin. Tapos ang spoiled 200 pa rin. Pero ito ay 2,000 units pa rin na good units. Tapos sold to a jobber ay 20,000. Yan, magbebenta yan ng 20,000. So ang cost natin ay DMDLOH, magkano yung total nito? 172. This time, we will try to apply yung sinabi natin, total cost minus recovered cost over the good units. Okay? Ay, angat ako kanina, sa nauna, may mali ako sinabi dito. It's not recovered cost, it's the hindi po recovered cost sa 18,400. Ito po. Ang recovered po natin ay 10,000. Mali po yung pagkakasabi kanina. Erase po ng konti. Nadala lang po ng emosyon. Hindi po recovered cost yung minus natin. yung cost associated, yung total cost ng spoiled units. Spoiled units. Kung malilito ka, erase mo na lang yung part na yan. Tandaan mo, para makuha mo yung 92, it should be the original cost. Or, ang pinaka-safe po talaga na iisipin mo dito ay si work in process. Magkano yung dinebit? Magkano yung credit? So 202,400 minus 18,400 na credit natin over the 2,000 units na good units. Okay? Ayan. So the answer is, oops, baka mapagkamalan na plus po ito. Ito po ay minus control E. Ayan. Minus 18,400. Ayan po. So balik na po ako dito. Dito ko napansin na ano ba yung sinabi ko kanina. Dito po yon. Kasi ang gusto ko sabihin sana, dito kapag chargeable to all jobs, huwag ka nang mag-recompute. Yun ang gusto kong sabihin sana. Kasi ito, kahit hindi mo siya isipin, dahil ito na nga mismo yung cost natin dito. Magre-recompute ka lang ng unit cost kapag chargeable to specific job. So in that case, yung total cost dapat kasi chargeable na sa kanya lahat. E may na-recover ka. Ito po yun na sinasabi natin na ang total cost natin ay 172 times 2,200, right? So magkano yung 172 times 2,200? So that's 378,400. Ayan. Magkano yung recovered cost natin? That's 20,000, di ba? Yung sold to a jobber at 20,000, ito po. Ayan. So ilan ang good units? 2,000. Anong sagot natin? So 378 minus 20,000 divided by 2,000. The answer is 179.20. Ayan. Bakit mas mahal? Siyempre, chargeable sa iyo yung mga losses niyan sa customer. Yun na lang isipin natin. Mas mataas po. Mas mataas po yung yung ating mako-compute na unit cost kapag may exacting specification or kapag attributable to specific job yung loss natin or yung spoilage. Okay? Pero just to prove, syempre hindi natin palalampasin, debit work in process 378,400. Saan galing yun? That's 172 times 22. Credit materials, credit factory payroll, and credit factory overhead. Magkano materials po? 60 times 22. 60 times 22 is 132,000. Okay, tapusin ko lang po ito doon sa nag-raise ng hand. And then factory payroll, that's 40 times 22, so that's 88,000. That's factory overhead, 72 times 22, that's 158,400. So that will be your entry upon issuance ng materials, labor, and overhead. To recognize yung ating spoiled units or yung spoilage, again, walang entry sana. Kaso, meron po tayong recovered. So, ang recovered ay debited to spoiled goods amounting to 20,000 and credit work in process amounting to 20,000. So, babalik po tayo dito. Ito yung 20 at ito yung 378,400. Yun lang yung tanging paggalaw ng work in process. Parang kanina, work in process lang din ang inabangan po natin. So, divide the number of good units, you will arrive at 179.20. Number 2, what is the amount of loss charged to FOH? The answer is 0. Why? Walang FOH. Dahil ang FOH ay kapag chargeable to all jobs. Pag chargeable to specific job, ito po ay charged to work in process. Ang tanong, magkano yung loss charged to work in process? Doon po tayo may mako-compute. Magkano nga ba? Yung total cost kasi associated with the spoiled units ay magkano? That is 200 units times 172 pesos. Magkano po yun? 34,400. May na-recover ka. Recovered cost na 20,000. Saan po yun? Ito pong spoiled goods natin. So ang total loss natin na chargeable or absorbed by the customer or by the job is 14,400. Okay? Baka lang itanong sa exam. Ingat po dito, how much loss is charged to FOH? The answer is 0. Baka madala ka at yun yung isagot mo. Alright? So may nagtaas mo ng kamay. Let's recognize that. So are you going to ask something? Sino ba to? May naka-raise pa ba ng hand or napindot lang? Nawala na siya. Alright. So baka napindot lang. So I'll just continue. Kung meron po, mag-chat lang po. Baka hindi ko napansin. Okay? Alright. So let's continue with this one. Yan. Tara Company. This time, di ba sabi natin, I hope okay pa tayo. May loss pa rin, may spoilage pa rin, pero incorporate na natin what if may allowance for spoilage. Spoilage na 2 pesos. Don't worry, kaya po itong part na to. Sabi rito, the spoilage loss is charged to all production. So sabi rito, di ba? Pag charge to all production, ano kaya yung unit cost ng job number 1? Ano yung total nito? 92. Mag-iingat lang po tayo ng konti kapag may allowance for spoilage at saka yung given natin, included ba doon yung allowance or excluded? Sabi niya included. So ibig sabihin, kung hindi po yan normal to all jobs, chargeable to specific job, dapat tatanggalin po natin yan. Magkakaroon po ng konting difference this time. Pero sagutin muna natin number 1 and number 2 kasi chargeable to all jobs. Answer sa number 1, it's 92 kahit hindi ka na mag-recompute. Okay? Magkano ba yung chargeable loss to factory overhead? How will you know? So kanina, nag-e-entry tayo. Ngayon isipin natin paano makukompute yung factory overhead. Or in other words, ito yung unrecovered. Ang gagawin mo rito, di ba, 92 pesos, ilan po ba yung spoiled natin? 2,200 na quotes, 200 yung spoiled. So therefore, ilan po yung spoiled natin? 200. So magkano po yung loss supposedly? That's 18,400, right? Magkano po yung recovered cost natin? Magkano po ba nabebenta? 10,000. Okay? If we deduct the 10,000, we will arrive at 8,400 na chargeable to FOH. Tama ba na sa FOH siya ma-charge? Yes, because this is chargeable to all production. Okay? So, may I request for 2 minutes lang na break? So, pakipos lang ulit, pasensya na. Yeah, thank you. So, assume instead in number 3 that the spoilage is attributable to the exacting specification. So, meaning this is chargeable to specific job. So, ang tanong, what would be the unit cost of the good coats produced on job number 1? So, ang difference lang nito sa mga nauna natin problem, it includes kasi allowance for spoilage. Kapag kasi chargeable to specific job, identified mo naman kasi yung job, tinatanggal po natin yung allowance for spoilage. Dito po sa chargeable to all jobs, hindi natin tinanggal. So, ibig sabihin, ang distribution ng materials, labor, and overhead po natin would be 40, 20. Ang allowance po natin for spoilage ay 2. So 30 ang overhead natin. So ang total unit cost natin kapag chargeable to specific job ay 90. So iba po siya. So yun po yung difference na gusto ko i-emphasize at dapat maging malinaw sa atin na kapag may allowance for spoilage, we have to remove kapag chargeable to specific job. Okay? So ang tanong po ulit dito, what would be the unit cost? Tulad nung kanina, total cost pa rin minus recovered cost over good units. Ang total cost po natin, paano malalaman? Dito lang din po, 90 times ilang units po? 2,200. Magkano po yung 90 times 2,200? That's 198,000. Magkano yung recovered cost natin? Magkano mabebenta sa jobber? That would be for 10,000. Ayan. So, ilang units yung good units natin? 2,000 units. So therefore, the unit cost of good coats produced on job 1 is how much? That would be 198 minus 10,000 divided by 2,000. So that would be 94. Okay? So mas mataas uli kaysa dun sa original cost natin. So dito sa problem na to, ang tanging difference lang niya ay yung allowance for spoilage na treatment natin na iba kapag chargeable to specific job. Okay. Now, number 4. What is the amount of loss charged to factory overhead? So number 4, can anybody answer? So sa number 4, what do you think? The amount of loss charged to ano? Very good. The answer is no entry or 0.
0.
Yes, correct. So factory overhead is 0. Bakit? Kasi the loss should be charged to work in process. E tinanong sa exam, magkano yung work in process, yung loss charged to work in process? Magkano ba muna yung total cost associated sa loss units? Dito po natin lagay sa taas. So ang loss natin ay ilang units? 200, no? Times, ang cost per unit natin ay 90. So that would be 18,000. 90 lang po huwag kalimutan kasi pag chargeable to all jobs, wala si allowance. Okay, so 18,000. Magkano po yung recovered cost natin? 10,000. So the amount of loss charged to work in process dapat is 8,000. And dahil factory overhead ang tanong, the answer is 0. Okay? Ayan. We're supposed to compute in this slide, pero sa next slide na tayo, defective units. Uy, I think konting-konti na lang, malapit na tayo mag-end. So for this one, defective units naman. Ang difference ng defective units, nasabi na natin kanina, but we have to recall na kung kanina, na-incur mo na yung cost, tapos ang iniisip mo na lang kung tatanggalin mo siya sa WIP or ililipat mo siya sa factory overhead. So this time, may madadagdag talaga ng cost. Ang tanong lang, saan mo idadagdag? Is it additional to WIP, work in process, or additional to factory overhead? Okay, so we are asked to prepare journal entries kapag chargeable to specific job. Pero again, sabi natin, WIP to. Ito, FOH to. Okay, so number 2, we are asked to compute for the cost per unit of finished goods. Kapag gano'n din, charge to the cost of defective units, si katipunan, ibig sabihin specific job. So itong isa, hindi ko makita konti. Wait. Kapag not charged to katipunan, all right. So let's read the problem. Okay, I have another slide for that, but let's read the problem first. So you company manufactures gold cards and other recreational equipment. So one order for Katipunan Corporation for 2,000 cards. Show the following costs per unit. DM, DL, and OH, tas 150%. Labor cost if defective work is charged to a specific job. Emphasize ko to para baka kasi malito sa part na to. Direct materials, so dito lang, DM, DL, and OH. We have 40, 20, tapos sabi rito, ang application ng overhead ay 150% of direct labor cost. So that would be 30, right? That is if this is charged to a specific job. So ibig sabihin, dito sa kabila, 200% naman if defective work is charged to all jobs. So that would be 40, 20, and 40. So pag normal to all jobs, dito ka titingin. So 100 per unit na original. Kapag chargeable to specific job, dito ka tumingin sa 90. Okay? So lipat tayo sa kabila after natin na matapos itong basahin. So final inspection revealed that wheels were assembled with improper bearings. Walang sinabi kung ilan, so therefore lahat po yun. Sometimes, konti lang yung merong defects. Pero ito, sinabi niya na lahat ng wheels were assembled with improper bearings. So yung wheels were disassembled and the proper bearings inserted. So the cost of correcting each defective cart, so mag-i-incur ng DM 4, DL 5. Paano yung overhead natin dito sa defective, sa cost to rework? Depende uli. Kapag chargeable to specific job, babalik tayo sa 150%, which is 7.5 ng overhead natin. Pero sa kabilang side, 4, 5. Kapag chargeable to all jobs, 200% which is 10. Kaya ang total po natin, 19 kapag chargeable to all jobs, tapos 16.5 kapag chargeable to specific job, yung cost to rework. Okay, so iba po. Ito po yung original na cost na nung inisyo sa production, pero ito na po yung additional cost to rework yung mga items. So let's account sa kabilang slide. Okay, ito po natin yung chargeable to, ano yung pinauna sa atin? Specific job. So therefore, ang tinatanong po ay journal entries. So anong entry natin? So that would be debit work in process. Since ang total cost po natin, i-rewrite ko lang po dito yung DM, DL, OH natin para mas malinaw. So DM, DL, and OH, ito po ay specific to job. So that would be DM na 40, DL na 20. Factory overhead, again, is 150%. So that would be 30. So 90 po ang ating original. Okay, so going back here, so debit work in process, ilang units po yan? 2,000 times 90. So that would be 180,000. So credit, materials, magkano materials? 40 times 2,000, so that's 80,000. And then factory payroll, that would be 40,000. And then your factory overhead, 30 times 2,000 is 60,000. So yan po yung entry natin nung nag-issue sa production. Hindi mo pa alam kung may defective sa mga ginawa mong gold cards. Nung nalaman mo may defective units, i-rework natin. Magkano to rework? Is chargeable to specific job. Saan charge? WIP uli huwag kalimutan. So debit, work in process. Magkano po? Magkano po ang DM? To rework, 4. DL to rework, 5. FOH to rework, 150%, 7.5. So ito ay 16.5 po. So 16.5, multiply natin ng ilan po ang re-rework? Lahat po i-rework natin. May defects po kasi lahat. So magkano po yung total work in process natin dito? That's 33,000 pesos. So ang materials mo dito would be 4 times 2,000, that would be 8,000. Okay? Tapos, yung labor mo, factory payroll, 5 times 2,000, so that's 10,000. And then yung factory overhead mo, that's 7.5 times 2,000, so that's 15,000. So, since chargeable to specific job, nakita natin na nadagdagan yung WIP. At tinatanong, magkano yung unit cost? So ang unit cost mo, kanina kasi mina-minus natin kung may nare-recover man. So ang unit cost mo ngayon is total cost plus cost to rework over the good units. Ano po ba yung total cost natin? It's 180,000. So nanggaling, that's 90 times 2,000. Tapos ano yung cost to rework mo? That's 33,000. Diba? So ilan yung good units mo? Ang tanong dito. 2,000 din. Kasi kahit naging defective, marirework as good as standard or finish na good units talaga yung meron tayo. So magkano ang unit cost natin? 180 plus 33 divided by 2,000, that's 106.5. Okay? That's the unit cost. Tumaas. Dapat 90 lang. So dinagdag natin dong lahat ng ito. May napansin ka? 90 plus 16.5, it's 106.5 also. Yan ay nagiging equal lang kapag lahat ng units ay defective at ni-rework. Pero kung merong ilang pirasong units lang, so syempre hindi po yan mag-equal. Okay? So any questions so far with the defective units na specific to a job yung pag-charge natin? So halos ganun din yung entry, may nadagdag lang na cost. Punta tayo sa pangalawang scenario. What if chargeable to all jobs? All jobs. So that would be DM, DL, and OH. Isulat lang ulit natin. DM is 40, 20 yung direct labor. Factory overhead is 200%. So that would be 40. Ang total original cost ay 100. Sa tingin nyo, Ang magiging unit cost ba nito after i-rework dahil chargeable to all jobs ay 100 din kaya? Let's check. Ang cost to rework ay DM, DL, and OH. So that would be 4, 5, plus 200% ng DL, that would be 10. Kahit po walang sabihin, itong part na to emphasize ko lang, kahit hindi sabihin, kung may overhead po yan, automatic po na may overhead po. Hindi na kailangan sabihin na i-apply. So automatic na idadagdag mo yung overhead to rework. So that would be 19. Anong entry natin? When we issue to production, so that would be debit to, magkano po yun? 100 times 2,000 units. So that would be 200,000 pesos. Magkano materials natin? 40 times 2,000, that would be 80,000. Magkano labor natin? That would be 40,000. So that's 20 times 2,000. Plus anong factory overhead natin? So that would be 40 times 2,000 also. So that would be 80,000. So yan po yung entry natin when we issue to production. Any rework natin? Anong entry natin? All jobs po All jobs. Anong entry natin? Debit. Factory overhead. Hindi po siya week. And that would be amounting to magkano? 19 times ilan po ang rework? 2,000. So that would be 18,000. Ay no, 18. Saan galing 18? That would be 38,000. Tapos ang credit mo ay materials. Magkano materials? 4 times 2,000. So that would be 8,000. Tapos magkano payroll natin? That would be 10,000. So that's 5 times 2,000. And then lastly, the factory overhead. Again, dalawa factory overhead natin. The one is debited, the other one is credited. This one is for the applied. This one would be part of the total overhead na tinototal natin yung mga actual overhead. Doon po siya makakasama. That would be part ng kino-close din natin against the applied na overhead. So magkano factory overhead nito? That would be 10 times 2,000, 20,000. So yan po yung entry natin. Tanong, magkano unit cost? So the unit cost would be, ano ba yung WIP natin ngayon? 200,000. May WIP pa bang iba? Wala na. Ilang units po? 2,000. Anong unit cost natin? 100. So again, defective units, spoiled units, basta all jobs ang pinag-uusapan, hindi magbabago yung original cost. So, ang haba-haba ng istorya natin dito sa chargeable to all jobs, nakita naman natin pala, whether spoiled or defective, original cost lang pala. Okay? Pero kung gusto mo makasigurado, try mong gawin uli yung ginawa natin. So, pero kung kampante ka na original cost, yun na rin yung cost after may account ng cost to rework, hindi naman pala magbabago. Alright? Yan. So, question. Malapit na po tayo. Ano question so far? Wala. Ay, last. Pero I already have a video on the inventory management pagdating sa EOQ. I-refer ko na lang kayo doon para hindi naman kayo ma-information overload kasi we've been talking for almost 3 hours na. So ito na yung last few slides. Okay? So accounting for scrap materials. Wait lang yung unang accounting natin, yung materials in general na kapag meron tayong discount, pag meron tayong freight in, ano ginagawa natin. Tapos we have the perpetual and periodic inventory system. We have the FIFO and moving average. So we had that. And after that, nagkaroon ng realistic na scenario na merong mga nasisira at merong mga nasisira na hindi na nare-rework yung mga spoiled nga. Tapon na talaga or dispose at minimal value or i-rework mo, magiging parang good units na siya. This time, yung materials natin ay scrap. For some reason, hindi siya naging okay, o kaya minsan ito yung mga pinagtabasan. Sometimes kasi bilog yung kailangan mong material pero square lang yung nabibili. So yung mga kinat mo sa gilid, that will be part of scrap material. Ang tanong uli dito, ito bang scrap material ay traceable to specific job? Mukhang alam mo na kung ano ang entry natin dito. Basta ma-recall mo, halos pare-parehas pala. Ang clue mo, pag chargeable to specific job, WIP tayo. Pag hindi, FOH tayo. Ganun po siya. Ganun po yung pinag-uusapan natin mula spoilage, defective at hanggang sa scrap material. Alright? Ano ba yung scrap material? Residual material that results from manufacturing a product. So it has low total sales value compared with the total sales value of the product. Walang distinction between normal and abnormal kasi wala namang assigned to scrap. Tapos meron lang tayong dalawang basis sa pag-recognize ng scrap. Is it at the time of sale, kung kailan binenta o kung kailan na-produce? Mas maintindihan in the next slide. Ayan. Kapag sobrang liit ng scrap, ibig sabihin sa companies kasi may mga talagang patapon na halos, napaka-immaterial lang ng amount na mapapakinabangan mo dyan. Ang gawin mong entry na lang ay debit, cash, and credit scrap revenue. Diretso mo na sa scrap revenue. Okay? Pero kapag material po yung amount or significant yung amount, yung scrap attributable to specific job, mukhang alam nyo na kung ano dapat patunguhan ito. Dapat ibawas mo sa work in process. Yung kanina po, kaya ako sinabi work in process, kasi itong scrap, meron tayong possible na proceeds. So it's a deduction against sa cost natin. Kaya debit cash or accounts receivable, depending kung anong transaction natin, and credit to work in process. But normally, kung maliit lang yan talaga, cash po yung nandyan, uutangin pa ba, di ba? So that would be cash and credit to work in process. O alam niyo na siguro, kapag scrap, common to all jobs, debit, cash, or accounts receivable, and credit manufacturing overhead. Okay? Ayan. So, at the time of production naman, dun mo siya i-recognize. So, yung scrap, nilagay mo muna sa storeroom. Siyempre, pag nilagay mo doon, i-recognize mo yung inventory niyan. So, attributable to a specific job. Dapat may kapartner na WIP yan, tama? So, debit, scrap materials, and credit work in process. Nilagay mo na sa inventory. Mapapansin mo po yung difference sa nauna kasi ito at the time of sale. Kaya naman may cash and AR ka, ito cash and AR. Pero kung hindi pa nabebenta po, tandaan po natin, dadaan muna siya sa debit scrap materials and credit work in process. Kanina, at the time of sale, debit cash and credit work in process, then dito lang po sila nagkaiba. Kasi nilagay mo muna siya sa storeroom. So alam mo na yung entry no pangalawa. Debit, scrap materials din, pero ang credit mo ay manufacturing overhead. Kuha? Ayan. Pero siyempre, nilagay mo sa storeroom. Later on, ibebenta mo rin po yung scrap mo. Okay? So pag binenta mo yung scrap mo, anong entry mo? So siyempre, debit cash and credit scrap materials. Cash or AR and credit scrap materials. Alright? So, whoops. We will stop from here. So, yung ating learning objective number 7, I'll give you the link on where you can watch exactly the same lecture on EOQ. But this one is part of the, this is the traditional inventory model, part of one of the ways in managing your inventory. Kaya kasama rin po siya sa discussion natin. Although this will be discussed more on the strategic cost management, the subject na prerequisite po ang cost accounting. Okay? Kaya naman, not to overload yung mga information sa ating mga brain cells, so I would like to thank everyone for joining today's session. So thank you very much, and at least makaka-dinner kayo ng maaga, and please take a good rest, and I'll see you on Saturday again, those who are available. So thank you so much. Okay, so I think we can end the recording now.